max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none left. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none left. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame on.
Going to look to the inside.
The AMX ESPORTS Championship heads back to the Charlotte Oval for the junior portion of this championship. Round number 9 of the AMX ESPORTS Junior Cup is coming at you in just a couple of moments' time. The real-life drivers from the AMX ESPORTS Championship proper will be heading to Interlagos after the today's events with the juniors. My name is Connery Maddock. I'm joined by, of course, Sumil Arora for the duration of this broadcast. And Sumil, this is the second time that we've headed to the Charlotte Oval for the juniors so far this season. Of course, that previous one was on the old version. This time we are on the new. But of course, you know, the Oval is pretty much identical. But will we see identical racing this time around?
I think we could just see that happening, Connery. This happens to be the second last round of the AMX Junior Championship, and it's one where we could genuinely see the spanner being thrown into the works. What do we expect here today? Well, a complete change in the regular racing order. Now, cast your mind back to round number 3 when we actually came to Charlotte for the very first time. That was the first time we saw Yunho Park, the dominant force in this championship, not win a race. That was at an oval. This one again an oval. We could just see surprise winners coming up, and that's a good thing. But the way we get there, Connery, could be a little bit chaotic. Not too much, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too, but maybe I do hold a little bit more optimism coming into this one with the juniors, because of course they've had an entire season to develop their skill, to develop their racecraft. So these are maybe not, in some cases, not the same drivers or the same style of drivers that we saw in the opening couple of rounds of this season, which should bode well for today's racing events. Of course, we can take a look at the schedule. You quite rightfully mentioned there, Sumil. We are on the second to last round, round number 9 of the championship. Of course, that we remain at Charlotte for that final round, but on the Roval, which will be an interesting predicament for the final round of the season. That will be held in an offline fashion. We hope, of course, there are still continuing restrictions going on in South Korea due to the pandemic, so we don't know exactly when those events will fall, but we're certainly looking forward to it. Let's have a look then at your junior standings then for the moment. Yunho Park top of the pile still. Maybe not so much with a big margin like you had before, but it's still a rather sizable margin for Yunho Park. Back to Hee Jung-an, and then Woo Jin-shin just that single point behind the second place man, and then Junho Jang about 2 points behind Woo Jin. So it's a very, very close run thing there, Sumil, for second place, and I think that's going to be the main conversation that we're going to be having for the end of the season.
Absolutely, Connery, and Song Young Kang could have been in that mix as well had it not been for an error. He didn't make the error. He was a part of an accident that eventually turned out him losing a ton of points. And of course, you see him back down there in P number 5. But at top, seriously, keep Yunho Park aside for a second. Hee Jung-an, Woo Jin-shin and Junho Jang are just fighting it out so hard, and constantly we're seeing that order change by a couple of points here and there. And this one presents such a big opportunity, Connery. This could be the biggest wildcard race of the season. Now that everyone has had one old race in the bag, they might have a little bit more experience, but still, Charlotte can completely topple up the competitive order. And who knows, you might see drivers in the top 10 perhaps who are in the bottom half of that. Say someone like Sakyam Nam go out there, take a big win and elevate himself right up there within the top 7. All this stuff could genuinely happen right here at Charlotte, and this is what makes this race so interesting. Imagine What if Yunho Park has a bad race? That gap
Yeah.
is just cutting down every single round, Conry. Maybe, just maybe, we could see the Park gap come down to maybe 10 points by the end of the round. Who knows?
Here's a scenario. Yunho Park has an awful day. Hee Jung-an gets his
Uh-huh.
second win of the season, twice at an oval. That sets things up to be pretty spicy coming into the final round of the season. Let me tell you that. So it's certainly not over and done with regards to the championship win here. Yunho Park still needs to keep himself clean, finish inside the top 5. That's all that he really needs to do to try and maybe then secure things in a little bit better fashion coming in towards that Charlotte Roval at the very end of the season. But like I said, battle for second place is where it's at. And like you said, this is probably one of the more wildcard events that we'll get to see as well. Pretty much anyone out of our currently 18 drivers connected to the server could possibly take the checkered flag here today. And that's just the exciting random element that these oval races in these sorts of cars, I should say, really brings to the table.
Exactly. Anyone could win today, but I'll tell you who actually needs a win today. It was Yunho Park. Now, you might be wondering, why does Yunho Park need a win, right? He's got such a big gap. Well, the next time we actually have the junior race, I think it'll be offline, and most likely it could be along with the major AMX Esports Championship. Yunho Park is going to be doing 3 races there already that weekend. How can Yunho prioritize on the junior championship? There is bound to be a degree of under preparation from his side, and it's only natural, right? You've got a bigger fish to focus on. So Yunho needs a big one right here. Not that he's going to lose the championship if he doesn't get one, but you need that buffer in case something happens right there in the final round. So for him, this will be redemption, especially considering all that happened in Alton Park as well.
Yeah, that's not too long ago, if you think about it. It is, well, for Yunho Park, you're absolutely right. It's a situation that we didn't think he was going to be in, at least at the start of the season, with how dominant that he's been. But
Exactly.
over the past couple of rounds, we have seen a couple other drivers come to the forefront a little bit. That they've closed the distance to Yunho Park, which, again, we weren't really expecting at the start of the season because Yunho was like, what, a second a lap faster than everyone else. Now, he might even only be a couple of tenths of a second a lap, and at some tracks, he's not even the fastest driver, like we saw at a couple of other tracks this season.
Yeah, that was at Lime Rock Park. And what's really strange was that at Alton Park, Yunho Park made a self-error. Now, I know I'm saying a lot of parks, but that's just the way things are here. But at Alton Park, Yunho Park at turn number 1 did a self-spin. Nobody came and touched him on his own. He just did it by putting too much throttle at the back. Then, in the later part of the race, he was trying to pass another car, hit the back, and spun around again. So that's 2 self-mistakes from Yunho. It's not as if somebody else is coming in and taking him out. The same case happened at Lime Rock Park as well. It was just a lack of pace in that case. So, genuinely, drivers like Shin Woo-jin have a big opportunity right here. Well, they may already be getting a scholarship. They might be on the edge for that, considering how close that battle for the top 3 positions are. But genuinely, there could be a chance that Shin Woo-jin could close up. And considering how dominant Yunho Park was at the start, I think that puts a lot of big Korean teams on notice that Shin Woo-jin is a rapidly improving driver. And not just him, everyone fighting in that top 3.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of talent that we've seen develop over the course of this season. You know, some drivers that weren't quite there at the start of the season have really took the series by its horns and just saying, okay, I'm going to take this very seriously. I'm going to practice day in, day out, and I'm going to try and close that gap, and close the gap they have. It's been brilliant to witness, and it's something some of the perhaps weaker drivers in this series can look at and just say, okay, if I put the work in like these guys have, like there's no reason why I can't be fighting inside the top 10, top 5.
Exactly. That is such a good point. And you see the time come down to Yunho Park, right? Constantly. And it's not like Yunho Park has gotten any slower because he's going out there in the major series and he's defeating all the other top drivers. So it's not that Yunho Park has suddenly become a slower driver. It's just that the others have also caught up. And mind you, these are the juniors, not even the senior drivers we're talking about right here. So imagine the next time all the junior drivers come up to the AMX Esports Championship, how prepared would they be? And that is such an exciting thought, right? All the drivers cooked up together, coming in the top championship and beating all the seniors who may on paper have a lot more experience. Isn't that what we love to see? The competitive order disrupted in a sustainable manner.
Yeah, I think so too. It gets a little bit boring when you see the same names at the very top of the order every single time. Credit where's credit's due to those drivers, though. It takes a lot to be on top of your game for all this time, but it's sometimes great to see those fresh names at the very top of the order. But we will be heading into qualifying here in just a couple of moments' time, and we haven't talked about qualifying just yet, Sumil. Of course, here it is the exact same format as every other race. Open qualifying, 10 minutes. So open qualifying on an oval is something that you sometimes see in NASCAR, for example, but not all the time. But it is a concept that exists. But for this particular car at this particular track, it's more about that teamwork. There's a little bit of give and take with regards to trying to get that fast lap times because you really desperately need that draft or even a push.
And the question is, who wants to work together? All the teammates, I mean, there's no teammates, right? The concept of a team does not exist in the junior championship. And so this creates a weird situation. Most of the people you're racing against happen to be in a very similar position in the championship. There's this one pack fighting for P number 2. There's this one pack fighting for positions from P6 to P10. Now, most likely, their pace is going to be very similar. And will they want to help each other? I don't think they would because they're fighting directly for points. Some are fighting directly for a scholarship for the major AMX Series Championship. So it's a very funny situation. Who do you pick as your partner? And right now, luckily, some have found a few.
Yeah, this is just the dying moments of practice at the moment. The session will get advanced, and in fact, it has done so already. So, qualifying will start here in just a couple of seconds' time. Remember, 10 minutes of qualifying, open qualifying. Everyone's out there on track together and will be able to affect each other. Of course, they can't impede each other, otherwise they'll get themselves a bit of a penalty coming into the race here today. But 10 minutes of qualifying has now begun, Sumil. And, well, we just have to watch with bated breath a little bit because this could be very, very frantic with the pole position, provisional pole position changing many times over the course of a couple of seconds. And, well, we've already had a big incident with Junho Zhang going to orbit and cartwheeling down the racetrack.
Why didn't they build an air control? Why haven't they built an air control tower so far at Charlotte? I don't get it. We've seen so many cars launch up into air. You surely need somebody to come out and guide them on their way up. Now, you might be seeing quite a few more of these accidents here today at Charlotte. Quite like what we saw at round number 3 as well, right here in the older version of Charlotte. So this one, of course, surface is slightly smoother in relation, and you've got those wonderful stripes down on the bottom end of the circuit. But really, Conry, the circuit is the same, the challenge is the same, and more importantly, the challenge of keeping it on the track still remains the same, because last time out, it was something that every single driver struggled to do, even in qualifying. This time, they just got to keep it clean, because when you come to lap number 3, lap number 4, when you've got the most momentum, you can't afford to come up in front of any car that can block your lap time and maybe even send you up to air.
All right, those are the first couple of lap times through. I wouldn't say they're going to be representative because the packs haven't really formed up just yet in their fastest configuration, shall we say. But look at this big long train of cars all the way down the back straights, heading down in towards turn number 3. And you can see them all pinned, at least initially, towards that double white line on the inside. Front car pulls out of the way, gives a boost of momentum to those cars behind. Coming across the line, it seems to be a rather well-formed pack with Juni Park right in the middle. And across the line they come. What sort of lap times do they set? And, well, a good group of them go P1, 2, and 3.
Of course they had to. They're working together. They're cutting the air for all the drivers behind. The draft here is super powerful at Charlotte, much like any other oval. But with the draft comes cars getting loose as well. And we saw that happening in the background. Just ride on board with Juni Park and see how loose the car gets when he gets so close to the other ones. That could be a potential factor. You have to set in fast lap times, but you can't let the car get away from you.
Can't cross the line once again. It's a little bit of a more disorganized pack this time around on that lap, so I'm not expecting incredibly fast lap times. That's a big, big wreck there at the very front of that pack and collects Juni Park as well, so he'll have to try and get that car spun back around. Track is clear, so thankfully he can do so and hopefully get back out there on track. Remember, damage is off for this series, so it's not a big concern that there's been a big big crashes and some stuff like that. But you will be penalized still if you have impeded someone else on their lap here. Here's a little bit of a pack though involving Seokhyun Nam, and well, 5th place in qualifying at the moment, just over a 10th of a second behind your current provisional pole position sitter of Hisung Na. So a driver that we usually see relatively near the back of the field is currently fastest in qualifying at the moment. That's just how ovals work as well.
Yeah, it's just madness. Hisung Na just is dominating it right now. And the reason why I said dominated even with this big of a gap is because sometimes it becomes so hard to find that final 100th of a second right now on an oval like this one. But coming to Junhui Park, Conry, I think that could have been his pole-setting lap, but the reason why it wasn't, quite clearly, was that crash. And he has to go back again, warm up the tires, get ready, and go for another run, which can be so demanding mentally. That is just what you don't need. You just need consistent groupings, and sometimes it just breaks away.
Yes, you do get ample opportunity here to be able to get yourself those laps in. So, we're not even halfway through the session yet. These drivers already put 5 or 6 laps down. At the moment, slow traffic on the inside causes a little bit of a problem to that grouping of cars. Someone who hasn't set a lap time yet, though, Yunho Park, championship leader, leaving until late. So it doesn't matter, it seems, whether it's an oval or a road course. He's always a bit of a late bloomer in qualifying.
Exactly. And look at the confidence. Yunho Park is going out there all alone. How can you get pole position like that? But to be honest, Conry, I don't think not having pole would be the worst idea in the world. Because considering what happened last time out at Charlotte, maybe it could be a better idea to stick behind, watch all the drama happen, watch everybody literally kill each other, and take the lead. I'm not sure Yunho wants to do that, but it could just be a blessing in disguise,
He's got some help from behind as well. That's from the number 13 car. I believe it was the number 13 car, but I don't think we have another 13 car. Oh yeah, we do have another 13 car in the field. It's Hee Jung-an. So race winner from last time we were at the Charlotte Oval. Now pushing your championship leader on his lap here. So let's see if it really does take 2 to tango here at Charlotte. You would have thought you need a little bit more, but across the line they come. Hee Jung-an up into P8, and of course. Yunho Park, nowhere to be seen, really, as far as the order is concerned. But at least he's on the board now, down in P13, and maybe this will be a bit of a faster lap because he has the help from Hee Jung-an.
This is a bit of an interesting combination. Hee Jung-an trying to help Yunho Park. I wonder if Yunho Park will go back and give the favor again to Hee Jung-an, but it's not helping that much. Yunho Park still only 13th. By the way, these are the top 2 drivers in the championship, in case you weren't aware. Yunho Park, the leader, Hee Jung-an, 2nd place. Maybe just a sign from Yunho. He knows who his favorite driver is in the fight for 2nd place right now. Not Woo Jin, not Junho. It must be Hee Jung then.
That lap was faster there from Yunho Park, but it didn't count. Because remember, even if you get a slight car contact, if you get a 0x car contact, that is still going to invalidate your lap here. So they need to work out this bump drafting without getting those 0x's. Another faster lap, though, from Yunho Park. Again, it did not count because Hee Jung-an is maybe just giving him a 0x every time, just bumping his, bumping the rear of his car down the straights, and these laps aren't counting as a result.
At the end might be saying, well, are you trying to help me? Are you trying to put me down on the grid, mate? Because those 0x's really are holding him back, and time is running out, Conry. Your momentum and your best laps coming around lap 4, lap 5, lap 6 at the max. After that, you see your tires sort of deteriorate, and eventually your pace goes down. Finally, he's got 1 lap in.
Yeah,
that
lap
margins.
Counted.
The margins.
I just noticed that as well. Crazy stuff. Inside 100th of a second, Jung-hyun Choi has got pole position right now. Inside of the there's 8 cars within a 10th of a second of your leader here. So, well,
this is madness. And at the same time, it's not like Hee Jung-an is not benefiting as well. Hee Jung-an has gone in there and has put in virtually the same lap time as Yunho Park as well. So, your first place and second place drivers in the championship are in the top 5. And isn't that exactly what you need in that situation? Just being right near the top so that you don't get shuffled up in the mid-pack.
Yeah, that could possibly be the recipe that Makes a great meal out of this race, but 2 minutes left to go. Qualifying, still plenty of laps to run here as we continue to watch Junho Park and Hee Jung-an try to work together, but Hee Jung-an's just going to pop to the high side now as a whole bunch of traffic tries to work its way through. And, well, as you know, Sumil, we do tend to see the faster qualifying times come from the larger packs. This might help Hee Jung-an especially, as he's now going to get a double toe from the cars ahead. A little bit too far back to make anything of it right now, but if these guys form up rather quickly, we could see another shuffle as far as the faster times are concerned.
100%. We know that Hee Jung-an has the pace for that one. He's heading down low, though. I think he's done for the day.
Kyle Lee, out of nowhere, going fastest by 11 thousandths of a second, and he's in a 3-car pack here at the moment, and he is the 3rd car in line. So this group of 3 going incredibly quickly here. Kyle Lee can just sit in behind. He doesn't even need to get close to the car behind him and risk a 0x. He can just sit there, sit in the double slipstream, try and get the run to the line. A 33.6, he goes even faster than his current pole position time. This is great stuff, but great opportunistic driving here from Kyle Lee to sit up behind these 2 cars and get those fast laps in. It might have gotten him pole.
Yeah, exactly, and Kyo Lee needs a big result. Reason being, at Oulton Park, he spun out on his own from P2. How big of a result could that have been? It's gone now. No point wondering about that too much. But the focus is that he's put himself in pole position. That could be a good place to be in. Oh, Junwi, watch out for the rejoin, mate.
Yeah, rejoin wasn't ideal. I don't know who he put in the wall there. Did look like a purple car, so I was fearing it was going to be Junho Park, but you know, Junho Park is still teamed up with Hee Jung-an here. They've got a decent slipstream to the cars ahead as well. They can get across the line and do another lap as well. 3 seconds left remaining. Are those laps good enough for Junho Park? No, it didn't count, but now he's embroiled in a bit of a pack. Can Hee Jung-an and Junho Park get themselves to the top of the order here? They have all the opportunities. They're going to look high side on the traffic, which isn't the fastest way around. They'll see if they can make it work, though, as they head their way through in towards NASCAR turns 3 and 4. Hee Jung-an tucked up behind, just pushing a championship leader around the outside here. They don't quite have the momentum to get by through the corners, but across the line they come. What's the lap time going to be for Junho Park? It's a 33.746, which is not going to be good enough for pole position. Hee Jung-an, his time wasn't good enough either, and it looks like we're pretty much done in terms of qualifying. And for the first time this season, Kyle Lee gets himself pole.
My word, that is such a big one for Kyo Lee. This could literally elevate him up in the championship big time. Currently in P6 with 38 points in a heavy scrap with the likes of Jung Yun Cho and Hong So Jung. They are nowhere to be seen in relation to where Kyo is right now. This could be a biggie, Conrad. This could just take him up in that battle, and maybe if Sung Young Kang has a bad one, put him in the top 5 as well. Who knows?
Okay, we'll have a little look at the starting grid then for the penultimate Junior Cup race here today. It is Kyle Lee on pole position there in the number 15 car. Fantastic lap, a 10th of a second ahead of Jung Hyun Choi, who shares the front row with him. Hee Sung Na was the leader early on, but he now gets shuffled back into that second row. Junhee Park in P4 will start in 4th place here. The 79 will start in 4th place here today. Junho Park, your championship leader, in 5th place, sharing a row with his, well, what was basically his teammate out there in qualifying today, Hee Jung-an in P6. And then you have Hong So-jang in P7 with Woo Jin-shin in 8th, Jun Ho-jang in 9th with Woo Jae-sung in 10th, Suk-hyun Nam in 11th with Sung Young Kang in 12th place, Min-gal Kim in P13 here today with Jun Hyun Choi in P14, Taeyam Kim in 15th, Jin Wook Choi 16th, Jun Hyun Na in 17th, Jun Bum Hong, he will be the last of the 18 cars qualified, but he will have to start to pit lane because he was a bit of a naughty boy and didn't turn up to the drivers meeting, which is indeed a requirement here. So that's the situation as we get ourselves to the starting grid. Then of course these drivers do have to form up in a little bit of a more weird fashion behind the pace car here today, as they're all parked up. There they are. But soon they'll be able to get themselves double file and ready for today's proceedings. So we've already had a bit of a shuffle as far as qualifying is concerned, Sumil. How much shuffling will we see during the race, and is it enough for you to give us that song?
That's a good one. I think we'll see more overtakes than we've ever seen so far in the junior season. This race offers more potential for drama than all the other ones, and the reason why I say that, even though we've had a similar race at Charlotte early on in the season, is experience, Conry. They know how to make those moves now, so they can be a little bit more better or more experienced in terms of their judgment, and that can mean potentially cleaner overtakes and more overtakes in that sense. So that is exactly what I'm looking forward to. And what I'm really intrigued about is the fact that where is Shin Woo-jin? Shin Woo-jin is way down the order. He needs some comeback. He's in 8th position. And Hee Jung and Woo Jin Shin, well, they are in such a big scrap for 2nd place. That's the battle to watch out for. And even Yunho Park, right down in the middle of the pack. Maybe he could be caught out. There's a chance about that.
Drivers just starting to warm their tyres. Oh, Kaiho Lee, careful. He almost spun out there, and I think Hai Sung Na is following a little bit too close behind him. You got to remember, this goes with... Oh, no!
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on, guys. What is this?
And that's your leader. That's Kaiho Lee from the lead. Maybe he just wasn't experienced enough of how to handle a car on pole position, perhaps.
Well, no, I think there was more Hai Sung Na just completely disregarding braking distances and just completely messing things up here. I think we will still have to go green here unless we get a delayed green. We might get a... No, we'll get the green flag. What a mess. What a mess. But green flag anyway. Jung-Hyun Choi brings us to the green here. And, well, we'll have to see what happens with regards to that then, because that was an awful mess. Awful, awful mess indeed. Kaiho Lee has got himself back to the race lead, and I think that was more sportsmanlike conduct there from Jung-Hyun Choi there. He just pulled to the high line and just let Kaiho Lee through, and everyone else did as well. So great attention from the front couple of drivers just to let the race leader back into the race lead for the start of the race. That's quite commendable, actually.
But Hee Sung Na has fallen way back down. The driver in 3rd place is now on P number 7. But look who's up to 3rd already. Yunho Park, but he's swamped by Jung-Hyun Choi on the outside. This is madness.
Madness before the start, and madness at the start as well, but no big wreck so far. That's touch wood and hope that doesn't happen. But Yunho Park, as he said, trying to get up into 3rd place right now. He's locked on that inside line with Jung-Hyun Choi on the outside. He doesn't have too much help up there. He's just trying to get the side draft and try and keep himself in contention. It all gets a little bit wiggly as they head their way up in towards the start-finish line and log another lap here on lap number 3 here of this 20-minute event. Some drivers dipping 2 tires below the white line. You can do that here. It's very, very risky though, as we'll have... of course, the under investigation for that initial start. Oh, big wreck in the background. And someone's gone flipping. Hai Sung Na's involved again. And I have no idea what's gone on back here. Eugene Choi having a big, big problem there. Let's have a look and see what has happened and try and figure something out.
Conry, have you heard about the Bag Raiders shooting star meme? That just felt like that. Car being plucked up into space directly. Let's take a quick look at the replay of exactly what went wrong right here. Perhaps a misjudgment, or the crash was already on, and there we were. Now, we can't say that in a situation like this. That's so many races wrecked in one shot.
Yeah, it really is. Let's take another look back. There's the big incident towards the inside, and then Hee Jung-An just speared back into traffic. And we have a yellow flag. We have a yellow flag. And I think there's been another incident as well. In fact, yes, there is. It's involving Taehyun Kim. Yunho Park might have been involved in that one as well. I think the yellow flag was deserved at this point. Yes, it will. Let's take a look at the incident that eventually did cause the safety car to come out.
Yeah, no, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're going over the limit. This was the other incident. And again, a few cars being turned into discuses and javelins and whatnot. They could have been good at the Olympics, but hey, here we are then. But what's really intriguing me, Conway, is about how the order has changed. And guess who's way back down in the last place? Lee Jung-an.
Yeah, Hee Jung-an is well, he's down on the pit lane still. He had to take the tow, and I gotta say, if you get lobbed over the fence into basically no man's land here, that does count as a tow back to pit lane, by the way. So you just do have to sit there and wait for that tow to happen, because yeah, it auto tows you all the way back. And it's not a nice thing to have happen. It's a rare thing to have happen, but it's also not a nice thing to have happen either. So, yeah, we'll get all formed up behind the pace car. Is it Hee Sung-na again causing an incident under caution? I gotta say, though, that there's not many situations where I'd call for a DQ, but I think that's going to be one of them, honestly, because there's no way that that should happen under yellow.
It's totally unnecessary. That is totally unnecessary. And by the way, Conry, Lee Sung-na has got a 10-second stop and hold penalty for causing a collision. Not for this one, but for the one coming in before this. Maybe this could be a 20-second stop and go penalty. Who knows? That could be elevated. But yeah, really, really unnecessary, all that's happening right here. And I'm a bit strange. I'm a bit surprised, I'm sorry, is what I mean to say. You can see that I'm baffled. But it's been so many races in the season so far, and yet rolling starts are still being a problem. Drivers are just not able to gel well together under caution, which is a bit odd if you ask me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just I will refrain from going a little bit too overboard with my comments here. We'll just continue and focus on the race here. A little bit of lap traffic ahead of Kaiho Lee here, which will get waved around behind the pace car once we get to 1 to green. So that's going to be, I think, Taehyun Kim. Yeah, Taehyun Kim will be waved around the pace car once we get 1 to green. And we should, past that point, be going once again. But yeah, you know, I hate to be so critical, Sumo, but we've seen so many incidents under the safety car so far this season that it's starting to get a little ridiculous.
I think there's a comment on the YouTube chat that we've got right here that perfectly sums up your expression. It's from Hyunil Ri, and I hope I've got his name correctly, or her name correctly, or their name correctly would be the appropriate way of saying this. They're saying grrr, and that's spot on. That's exactly what you feel when you see incidents under the caution flag. And there's been so many, Conry. It's not like it's a one-off here and there. I think we saw a couple at Oulton Park as well, a few before that as well. Charlotte has produced one big one already. It's just bizarre. But to be fair, it can be a bit tricky to make the judgment, but at least you can be more prudent. You don't have to brake so late under the caution. You can just be easy over there, and you can avoid all those incidents at the end of the day. And it's not like Charlotte is a very tight circuit. You've got ample of room, so it still baffles me as to why are we getting that.
Yeah, it's just weird. The pace car light's still on, so we won't be going green this time around. Here's the look on board with Kaiho Lee. We did have Taehyun Kim get waved around the pace car due to being in front of the leaders here, so he gets his lap back here, which is going to be beneficial for the number 16 car. He'll join at the very back of the queue, but everyone else just waiting in line here at the moment. Again, just weaving, trying to get their tires up to temperatures and pressure, and I'm always a little bit concerned when I see brake smoke a little bit deeper in the back, yeah, I'll be honest. But yeah, we should be going green, not this time by, but next time by, and we'll have probably around, I would say, 10 to 11 minutes to run here. Hopefully, safety car free.
Exactly. We don't want to see cars being turned into baseball balls, and we don't want to see big home runs. We, this time, want to see some clean racing, and I think we could be in for a big one. I'm a bit amused, though. 0.4 of a second, the gap between Kaiho Lee and the rest. How has that come about?
Well, everyone's just separated out.
Well.
Yeah, so everyone's just kind of separated out under the pace car, and Woojin Shin's right there, so yeah, it's fine. He'll close up by the time the pace car's ready to go in. So there's the pace car lights are out. That's an easy way to tell whether we're going to go green on the next lap. They are right now, so that's the view that Kaiho Lee has of the pace car. And soon we'll be going and back racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval for the penultimate round of the AMX Junior Cup season. Let's have a little bit of a better last half to the race, shall we?
Yeah, let's certainly hope for something quite like that. And I'll tell you who will be on the attack. It will be Yunho Park, currently in P number 5. And man, Yunho got an electric getaway for the first one. Jumped, I think, 4 positions, wasn't it? From P7 up to P number 3. Keep an eye out on Yunho Park, but also at the same time, Lee Jung-an from P number 17, from dead last. He's got a lot to gain because he's second in the championship, and Woo Jin-shin and Junho Jang are gaining points on him big time right now.
Yep. So we'll have about 11 minutes to run once the pace car comes down on towards the pit lane. So just over halfway to go here. We've spent the majority of this one under yellow, of course, due to incidents that we had a little bit earlier on in the event. We had, I think, 3 or 4 laps of green flag racing, and then, of course, the safety car had to be deployed due to a couple of incidents. Look how far back Woo Jin-shin's hanging, though. Is he going to try and time the start here, I wonder? A green flag is out. Coyote is clear, not broken of the draft though. We're back racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The front couple of cars all very much spread out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like Woo Jin-shin is gaining a big chunk of time as well. He's only gotten a couple of tenths here and there. And as you mentioned, Conry, luckily in that draft train, all the guys in the background, they are clearly a mile away, it seems like. They won't be getting anywhere close to this train anytime soon, unless some shenanigans happen, and they always seem to be close by. But look at Woo Jin, though.
Woo Jin-shin going for the race lead. Coyote on the inside. So let's see if Woo Jin has the momentum. They almost bang wheels on the way down in towards turn number 1. And there's a slot for Woo Jin to slot back in. That was given by Woo Jae-sung, who's at that third car in line at the moment, as they all snake their way coming down the back straight. A little bit of fighting behind as well. We're coming up towards the halfway point of the race. Coyote still leads. Woo Jin-shin tucked in the toe, and Woo Jae-sung in third place. Yeonwoo Na in that bright green car in 4th place at the moment, just on the outside looking in, but these guys are getting feisty for the race lead already. Woo Jin-shin's not looking to hang around.
Indeed, he isn't. He knows that this big win could take him right close up to P number 2 in that championship. Junho Jang is talking at the fastest lap times, but why does it matter? It is all about the racecraft at the end, and Woo Jin getting a bit loose there almost. Woo Jae-sung could have been in the wall. There he goes, 3 wide for the lead.
Here we go. They just about make it work, as Woo Jae-sung doesn't quite have the momentum around the outside there on that super high line. They almost make contact again. Coming up towards the start-finish line, 9.5 minutes left to go. Bit of lap traffic ahead. This has got to be alarm bells in the heads of the drivers now.
I don't have a good feeling about this. I think it could just end up the wrong way around, considering how hard they're fighting. Lap traffic is already here. Yunho Park in the background is also here in this fight. Woo Jae tries again from the middle lane and is getting a bit of bump draft, believe it or not.
Yeah, but it's so tough. There's a couple of bumps up there through turn 3 and 4 on that sort of second to third lane, which when you're trying to link up like that with the bump drafting, it doesn't quite work. Here comes the move on the outside of the lap traffic here. Coyote trying to cover off the lane. Someone's down there. Woo Jae-sung's down there trying to push the lap traffic to try and get it involved in this one. I'm not sure whether they want to get involved or not, but involved they are. Coyote still in the race lead. Now here comes the challenge. Woo Jin-shin and Woo Jae-sung, both of them absolutely neck and neck. They almost make contact through turn 3, and Yunho Park just has to be sit here and just wondering what's going on ahead of him and hope he doesn't get caught up in anything if anything happens.
Exactly, but Woo Jin-shin has to get past the lap traffic. Look at the defending. How aggressive is that from Woo Jae-shin right now? Woo Jae-sung was pushed up to the top line, and right now they're losing time to the lap traffic that's holding everything up. And remember, blue flags don't even exist here.
Yep. And Yunho Park up into third already. He's going to try and challenge here. He's pinned to the inside line. Big incident in the back. Big incident in the back. Hong-soo Jang up and over, tumbling down the banking. And, well, down into P number 9 as well on the order. Of course, no yellow flag from that one. But, you know, we still have time for one if they did want to throw one. Because we can throw one if we're outside of 5 minutes to go. But right now, that leading pack has been whittled down somewhat. That was always going to happen with the movement that was going on back there. Jinwook Choi and, well, Jinwook Choi, but definitely one of the worst ones to come off of that. Woo Jae-sung as well, not having a great time. and he was one of those drivers that was looking to score some good points today.
Wu Jae-sung could have almost got the win. He was fighting right there with Woo Jin-shin for second place only a minute and a half ago. Crazy how things can change so quickly in ovals. But that lap traffic, Henry, is still right there. It is still, they're still not moving away one bit. And Kyu-Ho Lee luckily has that buffer. And because the setups are fixed, it's not that the lap traffic is miles slower. They're just stuck right there, and they've got to deal with them.
And they're doing well. The rulebook does allow this. You know, the blue flags are not a command; they are just advisory, just to say, okay, you got lead lap cars behind you, but you don't have to do anything about it. But they will do something about it now. I think they've realized that they're kind of the cork in the bottle here, and now the champagne has been released, so to speak, as Kyu-Ho Lee now leads that train. 3 cars for the race lead here, Sumil. Kyu-Ho Lee, Woo Jin-shin, and Yun-Ho Park. 3 completely different stories going on here. The win will mean so much to all 3.
Absolutely. And Woo Jin needs it. Woo Jin needs a big result to stay second in the championship, but he's pressurized by the #1 driver in the series. But at the same time, Kyu-Ho Lee, a driver who's never been in this situation so far this season, has to contend with all of that and the best drivers in the entire series as well. Imagine the mental pressure right now, plus bump drafting at the back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we do have the 87-13 that was judged no further action here. We have had those penalties come through over the course of today. I just have to fix them a little bit, but we do have them coming through now. So 5 minutes left to go in this event. Jun-Hee Park up into P4 here, so that's a bit of a battle pack, or rather battle pair going on for P4 and 5 there at the moment between Jin Wook Choi and Jun-Hee Park. But back towards those race leaders, because that's going to be where the conversation is going to be happening. And, well, inside of 5 minutes to go now, still everything to play for this top 3. Kyu-Ho Lee's been managing this race quite well from the very front. He's been positioning his car in all the right places, but now it's Woo Jin-shin's turn to try and find a way through. He might need some help with from Yun-Ho Park here if he's going to have any chance at a win.
Exactly, he needs help for the outside line. There's no way you're going to get it done normally without any draft or any bump drafting right there on the outside. Woo Jin, he almost gets it. He's got the nose up ahead on Kyu-Ho. This is crazy, making contact again. Watch out, boys.
Oh, that's crazy stuff. I love... there's no holds barred in this one, is there, Subel? They're absolutely taking chunks out of each other. Yun-Ho Park even looking here and there to try and stick his nose in where it perhaps doesn't belong. Lap traffic on the inside here. They should be able to clear them on the racetrack here. But now time is starting to run a little low for these drivers. Great defensive drive so far for Kyu-Ho Lee. He hasn't been phased whatsoever by all of the offensive moves that Woo Jin has been trying to pull off on him. We saw on that last lap that Kyu-Ho Lee was forced almost all the way down onto the apron due to Woo Jin's positioning. But this time around, no such problems through there. As long as they keep 2 tires in the white lines, they're fine. You know, it's only if they go completely below those double white lines is that when the problem is going to arise. But Kyu-Ho Lee, can he defend it this time around? Because look at Woo Jin-shin. He's got a huge run of speed around the outside. Does he have the momentum going off of turn 4? No, they rub doors coming up towards the start finish line. There's nothing in it across the line that time by. Does that give us an indication of what the last lap's going to be like? But no! Oh my word! How does Woo Jin-shin hold on to that?
And he could still be back. He's within a second. Maybe he could just get the draft and get back into that train again. This is like Texas 2016 in IndyCar all over again. This is where they made the contact. Getting close towards the tri-oval. It had to spill over. It did spill over. They were rubbing each other so hard at one point. Someone had to give each other a bigger nudge. And this is where the bigger nudge happened. Oh my word. You know what this does, Conry? Yun-Ho Park. Where is he? He's right up there. The championship leader could well be, in a position of winning this race. But Kyu-Ho, what amazing defending Kyu-Ho Lee has shown right here. The composure, I never would have imagined him doing such a thing. This is awesome.
two lead lap cars, 2 bits of lap traffic here. So we'll get the 2-car tandems going. Coyote at the front of that, at the front of the entire 4-car train, though. Oh, there's been an instant that's collected to Yunho Park. He's going to not spin all the way around. He can keep going here, but now Woo Jin Shin might be able to catch up with that draft and take P2 away.
Madness! Madness! Woo Jin Shin is back again into contention only a couple of minutes after he was just relegated back to the back of this pack. Outstanding stuff in terms of drama, but Kyu-Ho Lee, he might be running away like Forrest Gump basically. Run Kyu-Ho, run. That's the situation right now. He might be having such a big smile on his face.
Yunho Park's closing, though. You can see that time on the tower. It's closing in. I think the draft does extend back just over a second here. So it is bringing Yunho Park and Woo Jin Shin back into this one. Kyo Lee is certainly not secure as far as this race win is concerned at the moment, because it's ticking down 10th of a second after 10th of a second. And now with the help of Woo Jin Shin, Yunho Park has a massive run of speed here. 57 seconds left remaining as they head their way through 3 and 4. Just a handful of laps to go here. There's the race leader. There's the pass around the outside that's going to be attempted. If it's going to be the move, it might as well be now, as Yunho Park steams his way around the outside. Is he clear on the inside to come down? No, I don't think he is. Coyote might have just gotten away with this one. Pushes up through 2, and now 33 seconds left remaining. This is the second to the last lap here, as Yunho Park does get himself to the race lead, but it's certainly not done.
It's all about when you time your final move in oval racing, and Kyu-Ho Lee is in a good position. So what if he's not the leader? We've got almost just, what, 1 lap left?
Yep.
It's all about when you get the move done in that 1 lap.
Here we go then. 3 cars that can win this race. Your championship leader of Yunho Park, Kyo Lee, looking to get his first win of the season. Woo Jin Shin looking for 2nd place in the championship. This is so important for all 3 of them. A bit of lap traffic ahead will help in terms of the draft for Yunho Park. But look at them. They're all just bump drafting each other coming through 3 and 4. They're looking for time the run coming up towards the start-finish line. But is it going to be enough? They break off. They go high. Kyo Lee running to the line. Is he able to get it? Not quite. By half a car length, Yunho Park picks up another win in the AMX Junior Cup.
Ruthless. Absolutely ruthless from Yunho Park. So what if you're going for your first win? I'm going for another one. I'm just going to keep on adding feathers to my cap, says Yunho Park. And my word, Conrad, he's proved that he can do it anywhere. Road course, shorter road course, faster road course, ovals. Yunho Park has literally won a race everywhere this season. What a man. What a man. This could have been the one where he actually loses a big championship lead. This is the one where he walks out with an even bigger one than he's ever had. Wow.
Oh my words. Yunho Park just showing that he is the dominant driver in this series. Maybe not so much in recent times, but with drives like that, my word. That was crazy, crazy stuff. And we thought he was pretty much done as far as the race win was concerned with that incident. He was able to get back, though. He was just, he's counting his lucky stars that he didn't fall out of drafting distance.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine for Kyu-Ho Lee, right? When you're in that situation, you're literally sitting duck. You're taking your cake and you're running all the way back home, hoping that, no, I hope I don't drop it. I hope I don't drop it. At the final lap, he dropped it right on his foot. But still, Kyu-Ho Lee, the way he finished at the end, the way he defended was absolutely astounding. And sometimes it's not just about the result at the end, it's about how you get there. And for Kyu-Ho Lee, this is a big one. Elevates him all the way up to, I think, to having a good gap in that battle for P6 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look then at the unofficial race results, of course, pending further stewards review. Yunho Park, another win in the bag to extend his championship advantage here, coming into the final round of the season. Kyo Lee, P2, still not too shabby, though he would have desperately wanted that to be a race win, but second step on the podium is not too bad at all. Woo Jin Shin, crucial points for him in his fight in second place for the championship with a couple of the other drivers here of Hee Jung-an and Junho Jang. He finishes clear of both of those drivers in third place, so he might end up being second place in the championship at the end of today. Joonhee Park in fourth with Jin-Wook Choi in fifth, Jun Choi in sixth with Woo Jae-sung in seventh, Junho Jang in eighth place today with Jung Bong-hong and Hong So-jang rounding out the top 10 cars. And then you have the cars at the bottom of the order. Yeon Woo-na in 11th with Jung Yeon Choi in 12th, Hee Jung-an in 13th. What could have been for Hee Jung-an, fast in qualifying, well, relatively fast in qualifying, did well in the early part of the race, but got caught up in an incident. As Taehyun Kim in 14th, Sung-Yoon Kang in 15th today with Myung-Gak Kim in 16th, Hee Seung-nan 17th, and Seokyeon Nam in 18th here today. So, as we take a rather large breath here, Sumil, and get ourselves prepared for what is to come, it was a chaotic first half paired with an exhilarating second.
Yeah, this was just quite something. I am still digesting it as it happens right now. The one story that I can have on the top of my head, Hugh Lee, right? It was a self-error at Oulton Park. This time, redemption, Conrad. The way QO defended was amazing. But I said early on, Park needs a gap. He needs a buffer heading into that final round where he will be having 3 more races. And there we are. He's just gone in and done just that. And the championship battle, I think the discussion is settled. I think the dust doesn't need to settle over it all over again. I think it's clear. Yunho has got it. Mathematically, I think there might be a chance, but I think he's the champion right here already. But for second place, this could have been such a big chance for so many drivers, but it was Shin Woo-jin who capitalized on the opportunity and got home third place. So many storylines everywhere, Conway. It's just that oval races just mix things up so well, and that is what you need at times. It's fun in games putting the normal races where you see a meritocracy. Sometimes you want to see an oval, and that's what we got here today.
That sets us up for the final round of the season. Yunho Park, you can basically crown him the champion now with the gap that he has. So we'll have to wait and work out if it is mathematically the case. But again, an incredible drive from him. All eyes are on second place still, though, coming into that final round of the season. But Woojin Shin has done a very good job here today to try and make sure he's in the best seat possible to gain that little bit of an extra scholarship money that finishing in second place provides. But yeah, it's been, of course, we had that concern over the start, but once we got into the swing of things, once we got into the actual race, it was probably one of the better oval races that we could have asked for. So we do have to move away from the AMX Esports Junior Cup right now, and we head towards the AMX Esports Championship, where you have the real-life drivers heading to Interlagos. So very quickly before we go to the break here, Sumil, Interlagos in the GT3s. I'm rubbing my hands together because, well, I love the circuit and I love the racing it provides.
Yeah, it's a very good combination. GT3 cars in Interlagos, it's underused for some reason. I don't get why we don't have more Interlagos GT3 races, because the circuit has a passing opportunity almost everywhere if you're bold enough and if you're brave enough. I love it. It's got so much flavor to it, so much character to it that many other circuits lack. This right here could be probably one of the cleaner and the better races you see in the AMX Esports Championship this year. And I love the variety, Conrad. Early on in the Junior Cup, we get to see total pandemonium in a no-holds-barred oval. Now we get to Interlagos for some clean, more of a connoisseur's choice of a race. Let me put it that way. It could be coming up in a few moments' time. And I can't wait to see how the order switches up, because it's the real-world drivers coming in, and their driving styles and their driving judgments are usually better than all else in the championship.
Yep, they really are. So stick around because you don't want to miss it. The real-life drivers from the AMX Esports Championship take to the famous Brazilian track in just a couple of moments' time. Let's have some message from our sponsors, and we'll be back in a bit.
미쉐린, 미식의 길을 안내하다. Michelin, motion for life.
going till there ain't nothing. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't nothing. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't nothing. Keep the flame on nothing. Keep the flame on nothing.
Going to look to the inside.
Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the AMX Esports Championship. Here we have round number 12 or race number 12 at Interlagos with the real life drivers coming at you in just a couple of moments time. My name is Connery Merrick and I'm joined by Sumo Aurora as ever. So we had a very frantic and fantastic oval round in the AMX Esports Junior Cup, but we head back to the road courses this time around at Interlagos, probably the most famous racing circuit in Brazil. A joy to drive as a driver. It's great fun as a spectator as well, not only on the TV cameras with a lot of overtaking going on, but even as a spectator there in person. You can sit on top of one of the hills, pretty much see the entire racetrack as well. So it is one of those tracks that's held very dearly by the fans. But of course, you know, we're heading here in this championship, and well, the real life drivers, I guess, I get a feeling will still be very familiar with this circuit.
Exactly. Everyone has driven at Interlagos. Maybe not so much in iRacing, because I wonder why we don't have many more iRacing races here at Interlagos and more hosted leagues, but mostly in terms of just by watching Formula One, just by racing on this and other more arcadey video games on the world of motorsport. This track is iconic. Now, that word gets thrown around quite often, but Interlagos certainly is. You imagine the kind of history we've seen right here, the great moments, and every time we go here, regardless of whatever car you race here, be it GT3s, GTEs, Formula One cars, touring cars, they go out there and have an absolute banger of a race right here. And Connery, also, names of the corners. I mean, how fun is it to say something like Curva do Solo, Reta Posta, Ferradura, Pinelino, Picco di Pa? It's amazingly fun to even just come here and pronounce the name of the corners, let alone watch the racing that happens right here. I just love Interlagos.
The thing is, we do have a resident Brazilian here in the form of Hugo Luis, who is our wonderful creative director here at RaceSpotTV. He's also responsible for the stream for the Korean portion of Korean commentary as well. So he's still sitting here judging us on our pronunciation, and no doubt if we get it wrong, he'll probably have an aneurysm. And he will not pay us for doing these races. But yeah, we got qualifying going at the moment. The drivers had just completed their out laps. And of course, you know, giving you a little bit of wider context coming into this one. The championship leaders, DCT Racing, still lead. 176 points at the very top of the order. DCT Racing 157, Atlas BX Esports Team 142. So they've closed the distance a little bit up into to second place, with them sitting in third. All Santiago Motorsports in fourth, and Team BTC just shy of the 100-point mark in fifth. So DCT still very much in the driving seat here in this series, Sumo. That's kind of what we really expected. But let's see if things change a little bit here for this final online event, or at least we're hoping is the final online event before we get ourselves the two offline event, which will probably end up being a double header of 6 races in total. So you would have thought, you know, with DCT Racing's lead right now, they pretty much have it in the bag. But you got to remember, we still have not only this race, but 6 other races to go. So it can still change very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And as was the case with Unho Park in the Junior Championship, this one is just about building up a buffer for DCT Racing right now. And I'm surprised, Connery. I'm still surprised that DCT Racing have been able to pull up such a big gap on DCT Racing. But at the same time, I'm not. because DCT Racing have been far more consistent. Now, they were all at the same level. They were literally neck and neck by the time we came to, I think it was Spain. And that is where the trouble started to begin for this 11 car, the DCT Racing machine. And ever since then, their influencers have had a bit of a tricky time. Their sim drivers have had a bit of a tricky time. And now finally, Young Chan Kim has a chance to upset that and maybe change up the order and go ahead and close up some points on DCT E-Racing. In the last influencer round that we had, in the most mad race you will ever see anywhere in the world, Brands Hatch Indy last week, we saw that gap extending by 3 points. And DCT E-Racing, well, they've gone to 176, whereas DCT Racing are still stuck on 157. And you know what? Atlas BX Conry are closer to DCT Racing than DCT Racing are to DCT E-Racing. Now, this may sound confusing on paper, but what I mean to say is Atlas BX, who were once far, far away, who were once never in contention for P2 at all, are closing up big time. And who knows, at the end of this one, maybe they could walk in with a genuine chance for the final couple of rounds where they excelled at the offline events the first time out.
Yeah, absolutely. We could see that as a pattern coming into the final rounds of the season. So I know the season scheduling hasn't quite gone according to plan because of the restrictions going on in South Korea at the moment, which mean that we cannot hold a live event legally at the moment. So we're just kind of having to wait and just bide our time and try and see when we can organize one of those events. And if we can't in good time, then maybe, just maybe, we'll have to make those events online only. But we'll just have to wait and see. 5 minutes left to go in the session then. Lots of drivers heading their way down towards the pit lane, in fact. And getting, well, it was two of the DCT esports drivers in particular headed their way down in. Qualifying as it is right now, those two DCT cars at the very top, that's P1, P2, but not in the order that they are in the championship though. It's the DCT Racing car that's in P1 at the moment, not the DCT E-Racing car that's currently in P2. So a little bit of a change around of the order there. There's your third place man in qualifying at the moment. Atlas BX Esports team's Jong-Kyung Kim, as he's set himself a pretty good lap time out there, just a couple of tenths of a second shy of your leaders. Everyone else relatively close together in the mid-pack, but not maybe off the mark somewhat compared to at least the front runners.
Yeah, exactly. As expected, DCT at the very top. As expected, Atlas BX trailing along. Only a couple of tenths of a second here or there. It reminds me a lot of Atletico Madrid in the Spanish Football League, where you've got a Real Madrid and Barcelona dueling it out against each other. But Atletico Madrid, or in this case, Atlas BX, always getting closer, always making improvements as the rounds go on. And that is turning out to be something very interesting. But across the grid as well, Conry, I still wonder who can be our star performer this time out, because every weekend we're eventually ending up seeing one team coming out there and just dominating, and not dominating in that sense, but pushing their limits and performing way above what they've done so far this season. Team PSR was that team the last time out at Brands Hatch Indy. Who's it going to be this time?
Yeah, we will see. Of course, those influencer rounds, excuse me, are quite quite random in their order sometimes. But let's see if there could be a repeat performance for Team PS31 in this one. They've got themselves up into P7 so far, which is a pretty good going. They are only at, well, about a handful of thousandths of a second behind P6 at the moment, but they do dive their way down on towards the pit lane. Remember, they're not allowed to take the tow back to pit lane here in qualifying. They do have to drive all the way back in if they want to get themselves a little bit of extra fuel and the tyres as well. So that's one thing to look out for. You can be penalised if you take the tow back to pit lane without permission. There's the Atlas BX Esports car, again with the fantastic livery, probably one of the best liveries in this series. I gotta say, you know, we mention it every time, but the variety of liveries that we have here, just look at the Team PS31 car. You know, you don't see that in any other esports series in terms of esports racing. You have the old Santiago Motorsports car looking fantastic as ever. Then you have this car, the I can't place that. There we go, Quadro Racing Team. Again, fantastic design on that car. So I gotta say though, like the Korean sort of e-racing team sort of design styles are all absolutely fantastic, and I wish maybe some of the more Western teams took some inspiration from them.
I mean, they're superb. They've just taken design up to one notch and said, right, how can we make our livery more extreme? I know, let's throw some dragons on it. I think that's what it is on the Atlas BX car, isn't it? I love it. It's mad in a good way. It's not crazy mad that you look and say, man, this is unwatchable. Team BTC, a good example of that. Look at how outrageous the livery is, but at the same time, it's beautiful. It's not like it makes you go, oh man, this sucks. I mean, they've just nailed it with their livery right now. It's bold, it's brash, but that's how all the teams are as well. Fearless of all the others. They don't want to settle in to a box here or there. And I think the most generic racing livery so far, Connery, is just turning out to be the fastest one, because DCT, by all the other standards, they're pretty docile, you know?
I think they might have put all the effort into actually racing and practicing instead of getting the liveries right. But yeah, Gyumin Kim actually, we did see that come through just now, where he didn't go pole position, so by about 64 thousandths of a second over Young Chan Kim, which is a pretty slim margin. And there's Young Chan Kim, in fact, so he's just sitting up right behind his teammate at the moment. We'll get his lap times up on the screen for you now. The teammate does get out of the way to release Young Chan Kim, and now can Young Chan Kim in that number 11 second place in the championship DCT racing car do anything about trying to get pole position back? This will be his final chance at doing so. It's a 132.243 to beat, so just over a half a tenth of a second to try and gain out there. Certainly within realms of possibility for Young Chan Kim. So 10 seconds left remaining as he heads his way in towards the final little sector of the lap here, down towards Yunsao. And now, with that run out, of course, due to the qualifying, the mode that we have set here, he will not be able to set that time. So we will get ourselves the starting grid here at Interlagos for the sprint race today. Remember, 15-minute sprint followed by a 30-minute feature event. Here's the grid for the sprint race. Gyumin Kim in pole position with Young Chan Kim in P2. It's a DCT P1, P2. How many times have we seen that this season? Many times is the answer. As Atlas VX Esports teams P3 there with Jonghyun Kim, and then you got Jungwoo Lee in P4, Sangjin Lee in P5 with Chongho Lee in P6. So that's the DCC Esports and also on DR Motorsports row number 3. You have further back through the order, Jungsu Kim with a good qualifying for Team PS31 in 7th place to start. Sungyeon Kang in the Solar Indigo Performance car in P8. Yeon Sob Jong in 9th place with Kodro Iran Racing Team. Jimo Go for PSR in 10th place with Youngmin Choi for E-Euro in 11th with Jinsu Kim for Solar Indigo Racing in P12. Cycling back through the order, Sing Hong Kong for 2 Run in 13th, One Racing in 14th, DR Mighty Start in 15th with Atlas BX E-Racing teams, number 10 car Stephen Cho in 16th place, Min Jae Kang in P17, and then Moojin Kim with the final position on the starting grid here today, down in P number 18. So, as we get ourselves ready then, let's get the view of the formation behind the pace car here as, well, they've done it again, Sumil. DCT have gotten themselves the front row lockout here in qualifying. They've got their 13 car down in P5, but we'll touch on that a little bit later on. But so things are looking pretty good for them in this one, as long as the start's clean.
Don't use the word with the DCT 13 car, Conrad. I don't think they like it that much, but no, they're in a bit of a tricky spot. They've always made contact in almost every single race. P5 is not the best place to be in that regard as well, because you're sandwiched in the mid-pack. And in Interlagos, things can get bunched up so badly at the center S's, which means that maybe being in the lead is the best place possible, because then you can just escape up and move up ahead. What I'm really intrigued to see is what can we see with the Atlas BX cars. They're there or thereabout right there, I think P number 3. A genuine chance they can swoop around the outside of the second place DCT car and maybe get a big one right here. So this could be interesting, Connery. DCT, in terms of raw pace, may have the potential to run away with it, but right up there, we've seen increasingly better racecraft from all the other cars, especially Ulsan DR. They're in the reach of the top 5, and they could be good.
Absolutely. So you see the cars file their way through the middle sector here. The pace car, even though it is a short pace lap, it does start, basically the start of the second sector here. So it is a little bit of time here behind the safety car before we get ourselves racing here today. But yeah, DCT in a very, very good spot here. They look to try and dominate this sprint race. Of course, the main race is always the more interesting one as far as DCT are concerned, just seeing them climb through the order, but they've never really had a problem of climbing back through the order.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, case in point, Barcelona. Look at how the DCT racing car, even though they fell down, they were able to catch up so quickly and almost got the podium.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And it was just a fantastic performance from all involved to be able to do that. But now, as we're heading towards the end of the pace lap here, soon we will see that pace car nip its way down into the pit lane, and then the drivers will get the start signal. Of course, go on green. And then we'll be racing here for the final online round of the AMX ESPORTS Championship, the real-life drivers. Let's see what it has to hold then, shall we? Everyone still stacked up. Pace car pulls in. Green flag will be out. We are racing here at Interlagos, and it's a great start from P2 from Human Kim as he tries to go up in towards the outside for the center S's. It's side by side for the race lead between the two DCT cars here of Human Kim and Yun Shan Kim. They're able to negotiate the first couple of corners. Flank Human Kim is the driver ahead though, and the Atlas BX car actually lost a position on the start there to Jung Woo Lee in the number 24 car, as it seemed to be everyone pretty much clean coming through the first couple of corners there. But there's the leading pack of four. Oh my words, the two DCT cars almost came together.
Well, we've seen that before as well early on in the season. This is a pretty good start, and Voltkin, Yumin Kim, living up to his nickname, having a lightning start and getting right there up into B number 1. Jung Woo Lee, by the way, that was a very good reaction right there. Caught out Jong Kyung Kim, who has been quite an exceptional driver for Atlas BX in the real world races. That was a pretty big one. And hey, number 13, they look fine as well, Connery. This is nice.
Yeah. This is a very comfortable time here for DCT. It's especially for that 13 car, who's been involved in no end of problems over the course of the season. But hopefully that we're not jinxing them too much, and actually able to come home in a decent position here today. But yeah, decent start from everyone involved. No retirements, no big crashes here on the start. Everyone very respectful, heading their way through to complete the first lap here. And here they are coming across the line. The two DCT cars have already broken away at the very front of the field. It's going to be a big challenge though for P3 though, as Jung Woo Lee has to try and defend here from the Atlas BXE Racing car that steams around the outside. Great pass there from Jung Kyung Kim, not quite clear through Curva del Sol, and now that's going to be a lost bunch of speed there from Jung Woo Lee, because Sang Jin Lee now in that number 13 DCT car looking to try and improve position here up in towards P4, getting crowded to the side of the circuit. Oh, that's a little bit sketchy there, as now Jung Woo Lee looks to try and go around the outside of Jong Hyun Kim. Oh, it gets a little bit sketchy through the Desierto Lago as well, as they'll continue door to door up the hill towards Ferradura.
Now they're getting a little bit pushy, aren't they? DCT to the inside line against... Well, this is getting a bit crazy. Now the 13 car finally on the outside, and this, Connery, was a very good defensive move by Jung Woo Lee. Held his line, and that is the best thing you can do in a situation like that. You don't need to flutter around. You don't need to be a little bit cautious in that case. Just pick your line, go for it, and they did it to perfection.
Absolutely, yes, yet more battling here. It looks like the El Sadia Motorsports car wants to get himself involved in this one as well. That's Chong Ho Lee, but has to back out of it. By the way, I've seen Stephen Cho has brought it down on towards the pit lane there for Atlas BX, and I'll have to see what has happened to Stephen Cho, because it didn't seem like initially there was a massive problem. But let's have a look. Stephen Cho, where is he? There he is. Bit of damage on the start, I think. It looks like he's just trying to limp that car home, and yeah, brings it down towards the pit lane of his own accord.
Yeah, had to do that eventually. This is just not working out for Atlas BX. The number 10 car has so much potential. Again, last weekend too, Connery, somewhere there near the top 5. This, for Atlas BX, it's just turning out to be a one-horse race with both their cars. We've constantly seen potential from the 10, never quite materializing it into something big, sadly.
We do have an incident under investigation, though. The 10 and the number 19 are under investigation. So that was probably the incident that Stephen Cho had. So Stephen Cho is the number 10 car. Had an incident with the number 19, which I'm seeing as the Yunsub Jong MP16 at the moment. And there we go. There's the call come through. No further action in that incident. So it can't have been too serious.
Yeah, exactly. Not too bad. Again, it's good from the stewards. We're allowed to race a little bit, allowed to touch here and there. And that's what we want to see eventually when the battling is just so fun. Sometimes it does spill over, yeah. I mean, we've seen that happen time and time again, especially between these two teams, rather, right here, between DCE Racing and DCD Racing. But again, sometimes good racing does spill over. You've got to live with it and move on. But Ulsan DR Conry, their pace has dropped down a little bit. And guess who they're under the clutches of? Team PS31. I think it's been a while since we've seen Team PS31 in the top 7, haven't we?
Yeah. They've been trying to have decent runs here and there, and they have. They have got some decent results. It's just not consistently decent results for them to really be lifted, any further up the standings. But Jung-Soo Kim really trying to basically carry his team at the moment to potentially a 6th place finish here in the sprint race. Currently a 7th though, so that currently is front row start for the future event if he finishes where he is right now. 47 and the 16 is now under investigation, and that is I'm gonna have to have a look here. 16 is Sing Hong Kang, and the 47 is J-Mo Go, who's further down the order and is out of the event. So that must have been a terminal incident for him there as well. So, yeah, there have been apparently a couple of incidents happening at the very back of the field. We just haven't really got to see them on the live pictures here. But continuing on, though, we do have this fantastic fight inside of the top 10. Look at Lee, Chong-Ho Lee looking to the inside over Sang-Jin there in towards the right-hander. It was a desperate lunge. It was a look maybe just to put off the driver ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you've got to do that. It's a little bit of gamesmanship taking place in this race right now. It always happens when we're there at the mid-part. You just got to unsettle your opponent and get that thing done. Word on Team PS31 though, and you're right, Jung-Soo Kim has been carrying that team along quite a fair bit for Team PS31, and I don't think we've seen ever a bad move from him. Of course, sort of helps that he's a race official in real life, right? So he knows exactly where to go right and where to go wrong in those situations. But still, this is a battle I didn't know I needed so badly. Team Ulsan DR versus PS31. Well, that might be separated by a few minutes because we might just see Ulsan DR getting past DCT. But still, these two haven't been able to fight each other for a while, and it feels good to have more fresh battles on the field.
Speaking of, here's the battle for P3 into the Desida del Lago. So, nice. Jung Kyung Kim holding on to position pretty well, but that Team PTC car is looking pretty quick at this stage in the race. Looking to the outside for Ferradura, maybe just taking a bit wide arc to try and get the speed all the way through, but Ferradura is such a tricky sequence of corners there. You're going up the hill with the elevation change as well as those sort of double, triple apex right-hander, and you're also having to be conscious of getting yourself slowed down enough for the tighter right-hander as well. So it is a very, very complicated sequence of corners that really demands a lot of skill from the drivers.
And that's what Interlagos is all about. It's a technical circuit, really challenges you so much all the way through. It may look simple, it may just look like a collection of few, well, simple lines here and there that are drawn in a very intriguing fashion, but no, when you get to race on there, including the elevation, including the braking and turning at the same time, those sort of corners really tests you out quite a fair bit, and especially Conry, Senna S's, you're literally braking and turning at a very similar time while descending downhill. Nailing that first apex is such a hard thing, even more so when you've got somebody going side by side with you.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen too much side by side over the past while, at least in any of the battles that we've seen here. We have this sort of P3 train and back at the moment with the Yosan DR Motorsports Team BTC. You've got DCTV, not DCTV Racing, DCT Esports there back in their 13 car. You've got Ulsan DR Motorsports and who else is involved in this one? Team PS31. There we go. I knew it was a recognizable livery back there. So a good representation of all these different teams inside of this battle for the the final spot on the podium here in the sprint race. But look at these guys though. Look at the two DCT championship leading cars here, they've gotten themselves almost 5 seconds on the rest of the field.
And this isn't even their most dominating performance so far in the season, believe it or not. I think at Spa or Long Beach, wasn't it? They got around 15 seconds or something on all their rivals. Their preparation is just mind-blowing. I need to find out where they actually get all this pace from. It's something that they have for lunch. I mean, you can't experiment much with the setups, can you, in this series? So it's just pure driver pace or just focusing more on the race. It's just outstanding where they're able to pull that out from. But Conrad, the best part is both the DCD teams have not made contact since the last race that we saw right there, since Spa-Francorchamps. Ever since that has happened, their discipline has been superb. And at this moment, this is just what they need. They can't afford to touch each other.
Well, they might have the buffer here in a couple of moments. Let's just see that. But we did have a bit of a battle. In fact, we do have an active battle for P3. Jung Kyung Kim trying to defend once again. TPTC kind of left out to dry on the outside. They have a bit of door-to-door contact with the DCT car in the middle. Let's see if we'll get to see 3 wide into the Desideralago. It doesn't usually work. No, they'll stay 2 wide at the most. A little bit sketchy there for Team VTC with a little bit of the contact, and now they'll have to try and make sure they don't get swamped on the way up in towards Ferradura at the moment. They're side by side with Ulsandia Motorsports now. Chongwoo Lee with the speed around the outside. Is he able to complete the move? Nope. Team BTC just dives it in on the brakes to try and keep themselves in contention. Look at this fight, Subil. This is brilliant stuff between these two drivers. But it looks like Chongwoo Lee is just going to have to, Chongwoo Lee is just going to have to cut his losses there and just sit in behind.
The flow of this circuit just lets you fight everywhere. Every single corner you can go side by side and still continue on that battle. But Ulsandia getting the better of Team BTC right there. As has always been the case, Conry. For some reason, Ulsandia have just been able to pip Team BTC all the time. Whether that comes down to consistently holding off the pace or just being smarter in terms of where to make the moves, I don't know about that. That's just a minor difference between them. But it's not for a lack of trying though. BTC again getting closer. There might be a run down the Red Aposta this time out. They're looking pretty close, and that draft should help them out big time. Yeah,
we have lots under investigation, lots being sorted out as well as the 47 and the 16 got themselves the no further action called on their particular instance. That's the one where we brought up that was under investigation a little bit earlier on. So that should be the queue cleared, at least as far as race control is concerned, for the end of this event. We haven't really had too many dramas apart from maybe a couple of problems at the back and the start. So a stark contrast to what we saw in the AMX Esports Junior Cup. How about that? So maybe the feature event of this one's going to be a little bit different with the reverse grid, and we'll see what happens with regards to that.
But it literally is a connoisseur's choice of race, right? Interlagos, GT3 drivers, real-world races. You know you're in for a special kind of action. It's not cheap drama here and there. It's proper, refined racing, and sometimes, not sometimes actually, all the time, that is just what we need. And we're getting quite a fair bit of that as well at the same time. This is good. And the best part is nobody's able to break away so far. So there's a realistic chance that maybe at the end of the 2.5 minutes, Team PS31, who might be standing right at the back of this queue, could very well be in the middle or maybe even pass the DCT car at the top.
Yeah,
the 13, I meant to say.
Yeah, Team PS31 looking to the outside and, well, let go, in fact, by the Team BTC car.
This is smart.
So
I know why. They're trying to get the draft again, Team BTC, but it's a bit of a risky one because the draft isn't as prevalent in the GT3 car. So why would you do that?
We'll see. We'll see. A little bit of movement there at the very front of the train as they go behind the trees on towards the Desideralago. And here comes DCT, number 13, around the outside. Is there an opportunity for Sandia Motorsports to capitalize on the compromise line, though? They'll have a bit of speed heading their way up in towards Ferradura now. And, well, let's just see what happens. No, they're going to just stay in line there, Ulsandia Motorsports. So that's Lee Chong-ho, or Chong-ho Lee, excuse me, as I get the name the wrong way around. So riding on board with him at the moment. He's been involved in the thick of things here in this pack through basically the duration of this race. And now is his time to move forward as Sang Jin Lee got so sketchy over the curb.
This was a little bit crazy for Old Sandia and Chongo Lee right now. This could have been far worse than you expected, but again, real world drivers, they've got the experience, they've got the know-how of how to handle a GT3 car. I'm sorry, I almost call a GT3 car a DCT car. That's how dominant they've been all season, but yeah, that's just what it is. But still, not being able to pull away any of these teams right now. And Old Sandia are well and truly the leaders of the mid-pack. They are standing at 109 points, 10 ahead of Team BTC, and that gap will just keep on growing with results like this, Conrad.
Yeah, I do apologise there if there's any massive amount of distortion on Silmel's microphone there, because
my apologies.
The levels went up an incredible amount for some reason there. But we are on the last lap of the event now. Still everything to play for as far as P3 is concerned. I think the battle for the race lead has kind of just fizzled out here for the moment. I don't think Yunchan Kim quite has the pace to be able to keep up with his teammate here, or rather, not so much teammate, but stablemate, I will say, is what we used in the Super Cup for iRacing, when we had multiple teams that weren't technically teammates, but they were still teammates. But for Kim and Kim, though, great start, converted into a great race win potentially. Let's see then, in towards those final couple of corners. Kim Kim leads them in towards Yun Sao for the final time, and then it's basically 100% throttle from here all the way to the start-finish line. It is a very comfortable race. It's a race that DCT have been used to over the course of these events, and they do it once again here in the sprint race here at Interlagos for the last online event in the real-life drivers. Yumin Kim for DCT Racing as your championship leader comes across the line to win. Meanwhile, P3 goes to Jung Kim Kim in the Atlas BX car. It's a very close run thing behind though, but no side-by-side across the line. So Jung Kim Kim third, Sangjin Lee fourth, Shungo Lee in P5, Jungsu Kim P6, and Jungo Lee in 7th. Our reverse grid pole position sitter will be Hyunjung Jan in that DR Mighty machine. So DR Mighty, pole position for the feature event.
Who would have thought? But Dear Mighty somehow just have always found themselves, in a good position for the reverse grid every single time. So not bad at all. But wow, Volt Kim, that was a lightning quick start, and then again, nothing changed from there. Just able to hold on to the pace. That is how you put in a good performance. There's the reason why Volt Kim is one of the top Korean drivers ever so far. He's just that commanding all the time.
Yeah, and well, they will all group up on the way up in towards Ferradura, just congratulating each other for a good race, and it was a decent race. You know, everyone was pretty clean, apart from a couple of instances early on. But apart from that, everyone was indeed pretty clean here in this one. So that's going to be the race. Let's see the race results then. From Interlagos for the sprint race. Remember, of course, you know, this is pending post-event review as well, so maybe things will shuffle around, perhaps, or maybe they won't. But Kim and Kim, anyway, race win for that number 12 DCTE Racing car. Another race win in the bag for DCTE Racing as they extend their advantage in the championship lead. Youngchan Kim in P2 for DCT Racing, second place in the championship, just keeps tabs on your leader more than anything else. Jong Kim Kim, good points there for Atlas BX Esports team in P3. Sang Jing Lee in P4 for DCT Esports with Chunko Lee in P5, Jungsu Kim in P6, Jungwoo Lee in P7, Hyunjun Jang in P8, Yunmin Choi in 9th, and Minjae Kang in P10 today. Then you get a look at the bottom of the order. Jae-bin Lee in P11, Sing-Hong Kang in P12, Jinsu Kim P13, Sung-Young Kang 14th, John Sub Jong in P15, Inchan An for One Racing in 16th, Jae Joan in 17th, Moojin Kim in 18th, JMO Go 19th, and Stephen Cho rounds out the 20-car starting order and 20-car finishing results. So, with the sprint race over and done with, we do have to look forward to the main race. And
oh, yes.
well, reverse grid pole position for DR Mighty, which is going to be an interesting predicament for them. Not quite a position they've been in really before. I'm going to be very interested to see how they manage that. And the sort of main theme coming into this one, Sumil, is probably going to be, can DCTE Racing get through as easily here as they have been before? I see no reason why not, is the scary part.
Yeah. Interlagos is wide open. DCT have clearly got the pace. Just works out well in their favor. But I'm intrigued to see how the teams are able to hold up as well, especially Ulsan DR, because from what I remember from Barcelona, they gave DCT a hard time. They were the top team holding, I think it was the DCT Racing team when they dropped back down. So they are going to be ones to watch out for in terms of how they defend. It's obviously a more open track than Barcelona, but there's still a realistic chance of something potentially happening, and maybe just one potential upset on the way.
Yeah, potentially. I think it would spice things up a little bit for the end of the season if we get a little bit of a surprise here in the main event in the last online round. I gotta say, it's hopefully we'll be able to get those offline rounds, the ball rolling regarding them, because of course, like I said, it's a bit of a struggle right now given the restrictions in Korea at the moment. Means that we can't really do offline events at the moment, but hopefully things will be changing. If not over the next couple of weeks, then we'll be able to get ourselves the live events going once again, because we've already had one Sumil, and that was full of excitement, and it was great to see these guys actually racing together in person, which is always an experience. I mean, I've been able to experience things like the Sim Racing Expo for a couple of years here in Europe, in Germany, where they have their esports competitions on the big stage as well, and it's just a completely different atmosphere, and it's certainly the way, of course, restrictions pending, where sim racing should probably end up, and it's where most of the popular esports have ended up as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these offline events really are what it's all about, right? Online, there's a bit of fun to it, but when you've got people watching, and especially in Korea, the offline events, of course, live on I forgot the name of the channel, unfortunately.
Africa TV.
That's a bit absurd, but yes, it's sorry.
Africa TV.
No, Africa TV again. I just get confused. And at the Africa Coliseum, it's a big venue. We've had big esports events take place over there as well. There's a lot of pedigree to it. When you're out there, when you're competing with everybody, when you can see your rivals, you feel the intensity better. It's like you can see everyone in the flesh. It's like the battle has a visible target now. It's not just an online person you're trying to beat. It's someone real who you can have a chat with, understand them better. And I like the idea of that. Some teams, Conray, as you mentioned early on, there's this land nervousness that happens when you're competing in an offline event. Some teams did suffer from that. Some weren't quite able to bring the top level of the performance that we normally expect to see from them offline. But some, like Atlas BX, were tremendous with that, and they could be ones to watch out for, as they are cutting down the gap to DCD Racing every single round, by the way, and have also been in a decent position right now for the coming one.
Yeah, they should be. Again, it's like the Junior Cup. We can't count our chickens until they've hatched, is the saying. Especially given that, yes, this is the final online round, but it's by far not the final race. We still have, after this one, we still have about 6 races to go in total with a whole bunch of points on offer. So just because DCT are running away with it now doesn't necessarily mean they have the championship in the bag already. So we just have to sit tight just that little while longer before we know who the championship winner is here in the AMX Esports Championship. I like how it's coming down to those live events at the end to try and decide our winner. It makes those events mean so much more. So let's have a look then at the starting grid then for the feature event. Remember, of course, we had that top 8 reverse grid. So Hee Jung-jang in P1 for the start of the feature event in the DR Mighty car. Let's see if that car is indeed mighty and is able to hold on to P1 for the entire 30-minute race. What an opportunity, though, for Team BTC, who is looking very strong in that sprint race. to see if they can get by the Almighty and try and run away before everyone else locks onto the back of them. Team PS31 starts in third with Junsu Kim, with Chungo Lee in P4 for Ulsan DR Motorsports. DCT Esports is 13. Sanjing Lee starts in fifth place, with Jongkyum Kim starting in sixth for Atlas BX Esports. Then you've got, of course, the 1-2 finish for DCT Racing and DCTE Racing. They get cycled back into P7 and P8 on the starting grid. E-Euro, Yunmin Choi in P9, missed out on the reverse grid pole position, unfortunately. Min Jae Kang in P10 for Grit Motorsports. Redcon Motorsports is Jae Ben Lee in P11, with Sing Hong Kang in P12 for 2-run. And Jinsu Kim for Solar Indigo Racing in P13. Sung Yong Kang for Solar Indigo Performance in 14th. Then 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th are taken by Yeon Sub Jong, In Chun Han, An, Jae Joan, and Moo Jin Kim, respectively, in the Quadro E-Rain Racing Team 1 Racing, NJC, and Midas car. And then at the very back of the grid, we have Team PSR for JMogo and Stephen Cho's Atlas BXE Racing Team, rounding out the rounding out the entire starting grid for the main event. Let's have a look then as we get ourselves ready once again. This time it's a 30-minute race, so still plenty of time in this one to be able to claw your way back through the field if you got yourself on the bad end of the reverse grid. That's what DCT Esports and DCT Racing have been doing so well over the course of the season. It's capitalizing on the opportunities that are shown their way in these main events that allow them to climb up through the field into those podium positions. That's what's been the winning formula for them over the course of this season. But can anyone stop them this time? That's the question.
Considering how their momentum has been and how they've driven so far in the first race, it looks hard. But then again, that is what it's all about, right? A race isn't won on paper. You've got to get down there and win it on the track. And so it might be a bit tricky. Maybe we might just see DR Mighty becoming mighty after all and holding on to that lead right there. But all things considered, the best opportunity looks like it could be with Atlas BX right now. They've shown near decent pace. They're somewhat comparable with the DCT cars. All about passing the early cars up ahead and just making a few early moves, because then they've only got to contend with both the cars behind, and that might not be too hard with some time left, you know. It could very well be in their favor at the end. Maybe.
Could be. They've got to get past this start, though, because sometimes the start to the main race hasn't been the cleaner of the two starts over the race weekends that we've had. So that's always a concern that lingers in the air here in this one, as everyone's just sizing each other up at the moment, waiting for that pace car to dive down and in, and then we can get the final online main event of the AMX Esports Championship underway. DR Mighty in pole position, Team BTC on the outside of the front row. Let's see what happens coming down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. The green flag is out. We are racing here at Interlagos, and what a start it is for the Atlas BX car down the order, out to the outside for those podium positions. Now Team BTC late on the brakes, going for P1 though, here through the center S's for the first time, and Team PS31 at the back. Has DCT been caught up in that one? I'm not so sure, but that's a big instant in the mid-pack there. That's got a lot of drivers involved. Youngchan Kim's involved, Gilman Kim's involved, both DCT drivers are in it.
And this could be it. This could be Atlas BX's biggest chance ever to close up that gap to DCT Racing. And no, there's damage. There's damage to the 12th car. There's damage to the championship leader.
There is. Let's take a look at exactly what happened here. Here's the start.
Oh, no.
Here's the wide shot. Atlas BX got themselves a decent start. They got to the outside, and a good job they did. It was an instant in the back as well before we even got to turn number 1. Let's see what happened. It's Ulsan DR Motorsports got tangled with one of the Atlas BX cars. Another little instant there for the Atlas BX cars as the DCT cars came piling into that one, and it was just an absolute mess at the bottom of the hill. A couple of injured cars there. So Gilman Kim, championship leader, basically out of this race with how much he's crabbing right now. Youngchan Kim got away with not too much damage, but still has some damage to that number 11 car. Oh my word, that just changed things.
Everything. Your championship leader is out. in the race that offers you the most points. DCD Racing have got damage to contend with, and Atlas BX in the background, as you can see, are on the charge. They're passing Ulsan DR, and they don't just move up to P3 in the race, they could move out to P2 in the championship as well, Connery. Who would have thought?
They could. There's the lone remaining healthy
13.
DCT car. Yeah, the 13 car ironically has capitalized on all of the problems from their teammates here. Now they're looking to the outside of the Atlas BX car. They can do their teammates a favor here by impeding the progress of the Atlas BX car. We do have to again also focus on the race league, because that's getting very, very close as well.
Oh
no! Oh no! It's
Come
been
on.
a horror show for DCT in this race as they get sent into the barriers.
I think DCD stands for don't crash on the track, but they've done just the opposite of that here today. Why? And again, Connery, 13 just crashes out again. It's not a fake thing we're making up right here. The 13 literally crashes at every big race within the first 10 minutes. Here's Ulsandia, and it's not their fault again. It's not their fault. Ulsandia, they're trying for something that existed, but maybe on a sharper line to the inside. It wasn't there at that very position, and you know the deal, you know the rest. Of course they crashed out, but look at this. 2.5 seconds between DR Mighty and Team BTC, and then the rest of the pack, and it's number 46 in P4. This is outstanding. And it's Redcon Motorsport in fourth.
Oh, look at this driver on the outside for Team BTC. Surely they're not going to get the car stopped with how much momentum they were trying to take around the outside there. So it's not surprising that that move wasn't complete by Team BTC. But my word, it was the Ulsan Motorsports incident having a problem again, by the way. They were sort of one of the main parties in that opening lap incident as well. So if I was being a little bit insensitive, I'd say the Ulsan Motorsports car is kind of making a bit of a target out of the DCT machines.
I mean, they've done a good job of that. 3 in a row, bang on. They've not every single nail down in. But yeah, for Ulsan as well, this would have been a big opportunity had it not been for the slight messiness. But look at this as well. I see Team PSR in the mix as well. I think Chongo Lee for them is in P3, isn't it? And sending one down the inside here. And that's Jamu Go, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jamo Go for Team PSR, really driving the wheels off that thing, making sure he can capitalize on everything that's gone on ahead of him. Now he's locking all over the back of Sung Young Kang in the Seoul car. Ooh, gets a little close in through the right-hander, side by side behind between Yun Shan Kim. Guess who it is? It's the DCT racing car. Despite that little bit of damage that he has, still trying to get as many points as possible.
This is going to be some fight back now. PSR is going to be a relatively easier car to pass because remember, they've got the pace, but how bad is that damage on the DCD car, Connery?
It's, I can't quite see. It's on the right side, I know that for sure. Meanwhile, back towards the race league because they're fighting side by side down through the center S's. Then is it this time that Team BTC are able to squeeze their way through? They get so close on the way through Curva del Sol. But this battle is certainly not over because here they're so close here down the Retaposta in towards the Cida del Lago. Here comes Jungwoo Lee for Team BTC to the outside on DR Mighty. It's the absolute send here. It's a very tough move to make happen. It's not successful again. But you could just see how desperate Team BTC are for that race win. But look at that behind. Atlas BX are closing in.
This is Atlas BX's golden opportunity. This is all they could ever ask for. Both the DCT cars out in positions where they don't get points. And Atlas BX, ever since they win at Indianapolis back at the first offline event, they've been craving another chance where DCT falter. Here it is again. And on raw pace, Connery, they are faster. Send down the inside from BTC, though they make contact. And this has opened the door up.
It has. Jung Kyum Kim in the Atlas BX car now, looking the long way around through the... Oh, that's out wide. That's not within the track limit, so even if he does pass here, he would have to give the precision back, but he'll just fall in behind there through towards Yun Sao. But look at how close he is on the way out of that slow speed corner. He's able to get the slipstream and get to the inside then through the Aquabancadas in towards the final corner now. It's not really a corner, it's just more of a slight bend in the track, but look at that, half a car length ahead for Atlas BX, almost a full car length ahead by the time the braking zone arrives, but DR Mighty will try and commit around the outside regardless, still trying to fight it out, but have nothing to fight with, and that's Atlas BX up into second.
Well, to be fair, DMIT in terms of raw pace were nowhere close. DMIT, of course, are way low down the order than Ulsan DR and Atlas BX, but it's a commendable defense. It's a commendable effort that they were able to keep everyone behind for as long as they possibly did. And well, there could be more coming. They're still not falling back, so that pace maybe isn't as bad as we expected, Conry.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll have to see. We do get a race control. The 999 and the 13 are under investigation. That was the incident that we saw with Ulsan DR Motorsports, and the DCT 13 car is now currently under investigation. Meanwhile, fighting back at the pack is Ulsan DR Motorsports. They're still involved in the thick of things, still trying to fight it out with cars despite being under investigation. Almost back doors on the way through the middle sector here. It's, you know, this middle sector is so fantastic. Oh my word, that's the E-Euro car that's just spun around ahead. The number 77 car that has had a problem, and well, that was all on his own.
That was all on his own as well. E-Euro, this could have been a good one for them as well, considering how chaotic has everything been. But yeah, self-issue, and that does not work out well for the 77 car. Well, it's a bit of an absurd place to have an issue like that, Conry, but it is what it is. Well,
oh, no.
It wasn't a self-issue after all. It wasn't.
No.
And again, Ulsan DR making contact with somebody.
I don't think it was Ulsan DR. Let's wind it back just a little bit.
They made contact at the end of it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you are right in that respect. But it was the Solar Indigo car that made contact on the inside that initially spun that number 77 car around. So yeah, it seems like the mid-pack has had a few more troubles in this main event compared to the sprint race. But we're coming up to the third of the way through then. The order is Jungwoo Lee, first place, Jongkyun Kim in second place, Hyunjun Jang in third place. Still, third place pretty good for DR Mighty at the moment, so they'll try and hold on to that one for as long as possible. But that Atlas BX car would really love to score a race win here, especially given the positions of the two championship leading DCT cars at the moment.
Exactly. This is just the biggest chance that they could get. And maybe consider where we were halfway through the season. It looked like Atlas BX was settling in for a dull P3. They could possibly be champions, and I'm not even exaggerating it right now. I genuinely mean it when I say that. So chances look bright. Things look pretty good for them right now. There's been a penalty currently for the 999 for that contact that they made earlier with the number 13 DCD car. Well, they've got a penalty for that. A bit deserving in a way.
Yeah, that was always coming, if you ask me. So don't be. There we go. He's serving it already. So Chung-Guo Lee coming down on towards the pit lane for that drive-through penalty, which is completely understandable as far as I'm concerned. So he'll cycle back through the order. It does give another position to Hyung Chan Kim though on his recovery drive in the DCT racing car. So that's second place in the championship coming into this one. So that's going to be some points scored back, and making sure that Atlas BX don't close up or even overtake them here at this stage. But just look at where, well, eventually at the bottom there, Gyumin Kim, 20th place, last place, and for your championship leader, that has got to hurt.
Really does. This is just exactly the worst thing they could ask for. For Volt Kim and for the number 12 team, they've been piling up that gap, Conry, with a lot of hard work, to be honest.
Yep.
Every single race, they've been consistently that little bit better than their teammates, a little bit better than Atlas BX, and it shows. But one incident, and it's all wiped out in one shot.
Yeah, that's just the way of things. We don't have drop weeks in this series where you can just get rid of your worst result. Yeah, I completely agree. It is just like a regular season in the real world. If you have a bad result, well, that's going to be counting no matter how much you hate it. And, well, that's why you extend these gaps as much as possible when you're in a championship league, because you never know what might happen. Just look at Verstappen in the Formula One.
Exactly. You can't tell which way the championship is going to go. And with 3 offline events, each of which offer more points than this one, well, the order might just swing away in the favor of a few different teams. And it could maybe just welcome back to the DCT e-racing car again, who knows? So watch out for this as it comes, but look at the intent. Jonghyun Kim always taking a sharper line than Jungwoo Lee right now, constantly showing that aggression, and there's the flashing of the lights. I think it's game on now, Conry. I think we might see round one between the two of them right now.
Yep, I think so. Oh, that gets close on the brakes. Yeah, these guys are not afraid to get up in each other's faces, are they? We've seen multiple instances of it already. Of course, you know, they are real-life drivers, so they perhaps know the limits of the cars and know how much contact that they can get away with. And well, racing room still is given, despite it being very, very close indeed. We're not even halfway through the race yet, Subel. Yeah, it feels like we've done an entire race already.
Exactly. This is just awesome in terms of how intense every battle has been. And every single one of them has brought a certain element to the table. Some storytelling, some aspect, something that makes it stand out. Well, something also makes the number 97 stand out, Conry. They've got a penalty again, and that's so light Indigo performance. Later on that, because Jonghyun Kim seems to be on the inside now.
Had a look. Was flashing the lights quite incessantly as well. Jinsu Kim, number 97. There we go. There's the penalty being served for the number 97 car. Solar Indigo. I can never remember which one it is. Yeah, Solar Indigo Racing car, number 97. Coming out of pit lane now after serving that penalty. Gets cycled all the way back down into P13 at the moment. Might even be P14. Yeah, no, I think you'll be able to get ahead of Student Show. Won't be a problem there, but yeah, that's a bit of a shame there. We are coming up towards the halfway point, though. Look at the race leads. Gets very, very close. Jonghyun Kim, he knows that he needs to get himself up into that, maximum point scoring position right now to be able to benefit the most out of DCT's problems, but he has a Team PTC car in his way at the moment, and Team PTC, they've shown they can, on the good day, be very, very strong indeed, and they're in P5 in the championship as well. They're gaining points over El Sandia Motorsports at the moment, so they're not going to roll over lightly.
Yeah. They aren't, but it's about control right here, Conry. Many times when you're in an opportunity like never before, you just often end up being a bit too aggressive. You take things a bit too quickly and make that one error. You can't afford to do that. Atlas BX have notoriously been doing that for many, many rounds. Team BTC has to avoid it. But there's the send coming in a bit closer from Jonghyun Kim now. This could be on the outside. That's a bold choice.
Flashing on the lights on the inside as well. They do have to be careful with that. Excessive flashing of the lights is a penalizable offence in the rule book. It is a thing there. You're only allowed to flash your lights a decent amount if there's lap traffic in the way, and you can see flashing the lights again. Okay, Jonghyun Kim has to be careful about this because he obviously hasn't read the rule book.
Exactly. He's, dare I say, doing the standard BMW driver thing, isn't he? But again, you like to see the aggression. You like to see the intensity from them. And there it is. And combined with that mean-looking face of the M4 GT3. I said mean, I didn't say pretty. But still, it looks even friskier, maybe. It feels like there's a greater degree of aggression to it. And there you see, making contact for the first time.
That's the word we'll go with. Team PTC ahead at the moment with Atlas PX car in tow.
Look at the lights.
Yeah, I know, it's still going. So I have to wonder if Ricardo's going to say anything about that at some point. Because it is in the rule book, and I should know, I wrote the rule book. But yeah, Jungwoo Lee, it's so hard as the leading car at the moment just to not always look in your mirrors, because that car is following so closely behind. This is what is meant by applying pressure. You just make yourself big in the mirrors. You got to make yourself in the forefront of the mind of the driver ahead of you. And now it looks like Atlas BX might have a good chance around the outside here. No, Team BTC are able to cover it off quite nicely. So they're not cracking under the pressure at the moment. So they're doing a very, very good job indeed. They don't have to worry about losing time to DR Mighty either, as DR Mighty aren't really closing in on them at all. And they're in fact matching their pace when they're having these little fights here and there. And they don't have to be worried about Jaemin Lee or Youngchan Kim either, I don't think, because they're off the pace compared to the leaders as well. So they can just kind of fight in amongst each other at the moment.
Yeah, and that's perfect. They're building up that gap. Then behind, we see, of course, DCT fighting it out. Yeah. What a comeback it's been, though. What a comeback it's been for Youngchan Kim. Whatever you say, with a slightly damaged car, we knew he was the fastest. We knew he had the pace. But this is I think not two comebacks in a row, but yes, two big comebacks from Team DCD Racing in the last 3 rounds, and that is super, super impressive. That said, this still isn't perfect for them, because now Atlas BX could be taking home a big chunk of points, and Atlas BX any which ways were closer to DCD Racing than the DCD Racing car was to DCD E-Racing. So there's another spicy little battle added to the mix right here now. What about them versus the number 9? And if anything, can we see them fighting against each other at the end of this race? Because there's 12.5 minutes to go. Considering how the DCD pace has been, maybe, can we possibly see them come together?
I don't know. I really don't know. They have to get through the DR Mighty car first to be able to get up into fighting for the race, for the grouping for the race lead. And, well, they have to get past DR Mighty and then catch up about 3.5 seconds to be able to do that. So not looking very likely, although the route they're catching DR Mighty at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to haul themselves up into P3. Race lead, though, might be a bit too much of an ask for the number 11 DCT Racing car. But still, it's a great recovery in terms of points, and more importantly for them as well, over their teammate. Down in P20, they're gaining a whole bunch of points at this stage, and they might even end up coming out with the championship lead after this one, all things considered.
Yeah, exactly. What a turnaround has been so far. It's just a reminder, every single round of the AMX ESPORTS Championship, there's something happening. There's always some chopping, some changing, some sort of change the mix in a championship. And that is what we like to see all the way through. Even the 13, by the way, they've climbed up a few positions. They're up into P number 8. Everywhere, there's some degree of drama. And what I'm really amazed to see, Conry, J-Mo Go for Team PSR is still holding on to P number 7. That is very good. PSR never are that good usually. No, not for the better, but yes, there they are. They're doing an awesome job.
Apart from the influencer event that they,
exactly.
they did very well at last time. But yeah, J-Mo Go, you're absolutely right. Hasn't had the best of times here in these real-life driver events. It's good to see him up there fighting now. And, well, might be able to get back past Sung-Young Kang up into P6 here. Certainly not letting him get away. And in fact, he's looking to the inside into the Senna S, but no progress will be made in that instance. There's a car spun around there. Who's that?
That was, well, I couldn't quite catch it completely, the number of that car, but yeah.
99.
Oh my, Midas Racing. Well, honestly, Midas Racing have had a bit of a tricky year so far. They're just getting to grips with everything. It's been a bit of a, what can I say, installation season in a way for them. They're just getting a hang of everything, and I've never quite been able to put in that remarkable result. But again, they're gaining experience, and that's all that matters. But they've also got damage, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, it really doesn't help whatsoever. Back to the race lead, though, with the final third of the race, the final 10 minutes left to go here in this one. Still undecided between these two as far as the race lead is concerned. Gyumin Kim, though. Gyumin Kim's back out there on circuit, by the way. He's waited for all of that damage to get repaired. He got 14 minutes of damage repaired, and then he goes out and sets a fastest lap.
What a driver.
I mean, there's got to be, well, I mean, DCT E-Racing thought, hang on, we haven't made an impact on this race. Let's go and get fastest lap. We need our name up there. Meanwhile, race lead, Jung Kyum Kim still unable to get through.
If ever there was a reminder needed that Volt Kim is a fast driver, there was one. He's a 2019 E-Race Super Champion as well. He's just made his GT1 debut in the real world as well. This man is an absolute beast. And if they don't win the championship, which I think is unlikely, if they don't, it's nothing down to their performance. They've been spot on every weekend. But Young Chan Kim is also making an impact, getting past the DR Mighty car. Mighty
missed
move.
that one. We will be able to get a replay of this one. But let's see how it happened then. Probably into the Desilo de Lago, looking at the positioning right here. Through the Curva del Sol, a whole bunch of slipstream for Youngchan. And Diamati pulling to the inside to try and defend that faster line through. But it looks like Youngchan Kim has just completely done him on the brakes there. Swinging around the outside, keeping within the track limits as well. That's fantastic. 8.5 minutes left to go here then. Still everything bubbling along quite nicely. It's kind of weird. We haven't really had many very active battles side by side, at least over the past 10 minutes or so. We've had these looks here and there for the race lead, but we haven't had the titanic swings at each other that we had during the sprint race. But I get the feeling the final minutes of this race will be particularly potent if Jung Kim really wants to go and send it on the race leader.
And he certainly does. You can see that intent. I think Jung Kim has been holding back something. He's been driving on 4th gear out of a car that has 5 gears. No, the M4 has 6, doesn't it? So he's driving on 5th gear in a car that has 6 potential gears. And he's just holding back the trigger on that final one. Just waiting to push it at the last moment. But again, Dear Mighty having to defend in the background right there. Oh, they have been mighty good on their defense, but mighty hard as well at the same time.
A little bit of a shove to the outside there as far as the Redcon Motorsports car was concerned. Jabin late, this is a good result for Redcon Motorsports so far.
Yeah.
Get themselves up into P4 here if they're lucky as well. So decent haul of points for a team that's usually at the bottom of the order in these sorts of events. And well, DR Mighty are a similar story for them. So you know, cars in P4 and 5, you know, no matter which way around they finish, I think both of them will be happy with their result today.
Exactly, yeah. And Jamin Lee, normally more of a touring car driver, has raced one of the Hyundai Avant, I think, Veloster cars back in the day as well. So he's got a little bit of experience with that one. Yeah, still, he's making a GT3 work and work quite well. But time is on his side for this battle against DR Mighty. And DR Mighty, in terms of pace, Connery, as I mentioned time and time again, they're just not up there with the rest of the pack, but they're driving with a great degree of heart. And that's what's important right now. It's just blocking off the lines and being smart while combining it with your passion is what is keeping DR Mighty so up there in terms of this battle. But yes, Jabin Lee, I think it's inevitable that he gets something. He just has to make sure that it isn't too aggressive, and that can often be the case.
Yeah, you have to take a little bit of a more relaxed, well, not so much relaxed approach into these sorts of battles, but a more, you know, cerebral approach into it. You gotta make sure what you're doing makes some form of sense. It's there's no point sometimes in just lunging it in here and there. Of course, you know, the good drivers can potentially capitalize on those surprise lunges, but then again, most of them would have planned what they're going to do. Ooh,
oh no,
Team PSR.
I don't like to see this. Team PSR was so good in this race, but still they're in the top 10, so still not that bad. But again, you wonder what could have been had it not been for this incident. Quick look at the replay, and where has it gone wrong? I think they turned around, aren't they? This is not turning out to be a good inkling for what's going to come up next.
Oh, bit of contact with the Solite car, bit of a squeeze, bit of a tap, and then a tag.
Oh.
We'll get a better view of it. Just so that we can say for sure exactly what happened between these two, or rather these three. But you can see a little bit of a tap there with the Solite car, another little squeeze there, little tap there, and then it's the Ulsan DR Motorsports car, I believe, just diving its way in. No, it's the 13 DCT car, excuse me, that just dove its way in and cleared out the car.
Yeah, exactly. And oh man, this is just could have been so much better for Team PSR. They needed a big result to back up the one they had in the last round, in the Influencer one. Speaking of big results, that seemingly could be coming Atlas BX's way, but still not able to get past. I think time is now running out. Normally, they would have made their move by now. Is it just lack of pace, or are they just really holding back more?
Too sure. Maybe Jung Kim is biding his time, waiting for the more obvious opportunity towards the end of this race, or you know, that could really be all that he has to give. Following much closer this time around through the middle sector, though, so this is looking a little bit more promising for the number 9 car. By the way, that instance that we just saw between the 47 and 13 is indeed under investigation, so we'll get to see the result of that in just a couple of moments' time. But good drive there out of the final slow speed corner for Jung Kim. So let's see if he's able to make anything work down into the center S this time, because he's been close before. He hasn't quite been this close on the run across the grid spots, though. Look at this. Now, looking for the progress around the outside, half a car length alongside. not quite able to do it. And Team PTC will be doing a very good job of covering off that inside line, but still getting a neat little run through the next couple of apexes to make sure that the car on their outside can't just cut back inside and get the run on them. But look at this, though. Ooh, a little bit of an aggressive gesture, I would say.
Yeah, a bit of a statement in a way from Jungwoo Lee saying that you shall not get past. I hope I've nailed that correctly, but that's what the intention is right now from the number 24. And this could be Team BTC's biggest and first win, by the way. So lots to look forward to.
47 and 13, no further action due to netcode. So yeah, I mean, it didn't quite look like that to me. But of course, the stewards are more in tune with looking at the different views and different angles. We only have to look at a couple of different angles before we get back to the live racing because we don't want to miss anything. But there we go. No further action rules due to netcode. Now, 2 minutes and 22 left. Still this battle for the race lead. Jungwoo Lee has been defending for his life here in that Team PTC car. He's done a massively good job at it as well. Jung Kyung Kim has been trying to find every single way possible of trying to get his way through, but has been completely unsuccessful. This will be the start of the second to last lap. Penultimate lap starts now. We'll get the 1 to go. Next time around, I would have thought. Actually, no. I'll keep quiet about that for now and just make sure. Yeah, it will be the 1 to go next time around, as I'll confirm that in my head. So not a lot of time for Jung Kyung Kim to be able to get this move done. Running out of opportunities.
Indeed, yes, and I think it's just about timing it, right? He has to make sure that he times the move correctly. So where do you do it? Not on this lap. This lap isn't a good idea unless you've got a great bag of pace left that you can unleash, but I think that's not been the case. If they would have had that pace, they would have gotten by already and then they would have capitalized on that. So comes down to this: where do you make your overtake? Turn 1, center S's, it's the best chance, but then you're sort of vulnerable to a cutback and then a move back down at the exit of the Reta Posta. So that is where it has to be. Line up a good entry on the Reta Posta and then go back down and send it down the inside at the Desira del Lago. That has to be the strategy. But then again, Jungwoo Lee knows it as well.
Yeah, he knows it indeed. Another fastest lap being set by the stricken DCT e-racing car. It's down near the bottom of the order. They're up into P18 now, so they're not dead last. So I guess that has something going for them. But here comes Jung Kyung Kim then. 30 seconds on the clock. This will be the start of the final lap as they head their way across the start-finish line. Now here comes the run of speed for Jung Kyung Kim. He's a little bit too far back to be able to go for a dive, though. Causes Team BTC to move over and try and cover off the move, but that's what Team BTC has been exemplary at over the course of this race. Getting that move to the inside and keeping that inside and not over-braking themselves into turn 1 as well. A little bit of lap traffic coming off of pit lane, which will hopefully get itself out of the way. It does. Here comes Jung Kyung Kim looking for the dive in the inside of the Desira del Lago. Not going to go for it. Now the options are really, really limited unless you're brave. But look at the run through the Desira del Lago for Jung Kyung Kim. He might get the run here up in towards Ferradura. He's looking to the outside, rubbing doors for the race lead on the last lap here at Interlagos. But somehow Team BTC is still ahead. There's a shot to the back bumper from Jung Kyung Kim to say, hey, I'm here. I want the race lead away from you. But who is going to come away with it in the final few corners of this race, because it might have to be a sprint to the line for Jung Kyung Kim to try and win this race. We haven't seen them side by side across the line, so I think Jungwoo Lee needs to just get this traction out of Yun Sao and he'll be fine to the line. Look at how close Jung Kyung Kim is following right now. He's gonna have the draft, but he won't have enough room or enough racetrack left to be able to make the move happen. Sit in the slipstream all you want, Jung Kyung Kim, but it's Team BTC coming across the line for their first win in the AMX ESPORTS Championship. Jungwoo Lee has done it for Team Beat the Championship.
A long time coming, this one. They pounced on the opportunity and grabbed it with both hands. This feels like a big win for them. And even for Atlas BX, they might not be the ones taking the checkered flag, but boy, are they taking a chunk out of the lead of the number 12 Team BTC car, DCT car.
What a result for Team BTC. That means they will leapfrog Alsandia Motorsports in the championship. That will mean they get maybe a little bit closer to the likes of DCT and Atlas BX as well, who are in the same piece of real estate of them as far as the championship is concerned. So they keep themselves in contention. They, of course, mathematically in terms of championship, it's very, very unlikely. But you got to keep yourself in the competition. And remember, you know, there are bigger prize monies for finishing P2, 3, 4 than they are for P5, which is where they were coming into this one. But I think they're just slowing it way down at the moment because I don't think they can quite believe what's just happened.
I mean, it's just like Kolon winning at Hungary, right? You normally don't expect a midfield team to come out there and just push through their ceiling and get that big win, but they have done it. This is what you love to see. New winners all the time. You love to see somebody new coming out there, somebody new breaking the mold, and that has been that.
Well, there we go. There's Jungwoo still taking it all in as far as the race win is concerned. But let's have a look at your unofficial race results then from Interlagos for the AMX Esports Championship. Our final online event is done here, everyone. My words, and what a finish it was, though. Jungwoo Lee, there it is, Team BTC by 0.2 of a second, or just shy of 0.2 of a second, over Jongkyum Kim for Atlas BX Esports team. Youngchan Kim, what a recovery drive for the DCT racing car. That's second place in the championship, might even be first place in the championship, depending on how the mathematics works out. I will remove the background here just for a second and remove the results, because is that Team BTC car out of fuel? Because it was rolling very slowly. I think they're kind of stuck here at the moment.
Well, I don't think we need a 1 liter sample, don't we? If we don't, I think we're okay. They can keep the result, unlike some.
Yeah, hopefully they yeah, like I said, I wrote the rule book, so I know there's no minimum fuel requirement for the end of the race. So they know that they're going to be fine getting back to the pit lane. I'm sure we can make an exemption as far as that rule is concerned. But back to the race results then, as Jae-bin Lee in 5th place, Sung-Yun Kang in 6th place, Hong Kang in 7th, and Jin-Soo Kim in 8th place. Yunmin Choi in 9th and Sang-Jin Lee in 10th place, and then you'll have a look at the second half of the order. Jae-Mo Go, Min Jae Kang, Yeon Sub Jong, Stephen Cho, Jong Cho Lee in 15th after penalty, Jung Soo Kim in 16th, Jae Joan, Yumin Kim, DCT Racing Championship leader, P18, not a good day at all. Moojin Kim in P19 and Inchan An in the 20th place for One Racing. So, there's the lonely Team BTC car out there. I'm surprised no one's given them a push back to pit lane, I'll be honest. That would be the sportsman-like thing to do, but Sumil, I gotta say, like, you could see that Jungwoo Lee elated after that race win, but he really had to work for it, didn't he?
Had to, definitely had to. I mean, this is just going beyond their limits, right? Normally, you don't end up seeing them there, and it takes that little bit more. Senna said that it's an out-of-body experience when you just end up beating your own best, and this has to be Team BTC beating their own best in terms of performance. What a result for them, and they just held their nerves all the time. All the time, I thought that Atlas BX had that extra bit of speed back in their backyard. They could just switch the gear up and maybe get that in, but they couldn't, and that was the important part. And at the same time, the composure from BTC was essential. We've always seen them nearby. We've always seen them near P5, P6, trying, blocking off a few teams until failing. This is it. Have we just opened the floodgates for them? Maybe. I mean, I'd love to see them on the podium more often now.
Yeah, I certainly would as well. As that they'll chill out there on the racetrack. They're in no rush to get back. I wonder if they've done an Ocon thing and the driver's gotten out and just run back to pit lane from what is basically the other side of the track. So a little bit more of a distance than Ocon run when he won in the Hungarian Grand Prix. But yeah, fantastic stuff. I gotta say that was well deserved from Team BTC there to be able to grab that race win and to be able to hold on to it against stiff competition as well. That Atlas BX car, the third place driver or third place team in the championship, just bearing down on you for the vast majority of that race and still coming out on top. That's a huge accomplishment.
Well, haven't they just beaten the championship, BTC, in a way? They finally made sure that the name comes true. So there's a bit of a fun one as well.
Oh no, they weren't out of fuel, by the way.
Nah,
they just took a bit of a chill out on the cooldown lap. Now they're going to come down in. So yeah. You can just see how much that means to them, though. And this is one of those points where I wish we were at an offline event now, just to see their reactions after that, because that must have been crazy.
Who cares about driving the car back to the pit lane? I'm going to celebrate where we are right now. That would be their feeling.
Yeah.
But why not? Why not when you just don't get wins so often? Celebrate each one like it's the last.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be the last, but still.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be the last. I mean, they have a lot of promise in that team. But yeah, it reminds me of when Sim Racing Expo 2018, where Maximilian Bernecke won the main event there, and his team were just kind of prepared behind him, waiting for him to cross the line. And as soon as he crossed the line, they all jumped up on the stage and just like gave him hugs and just like threw him around, which is pretty cool. It's just super loud as well. It was a very cool experience. That's what live events give you. So hopefully we will be able to have a similar sort of time at the future live events here in this series. That's the online events done now. Sumil, and now we head and just wait maybe a little while before we get ourselves the offline events, which of course we cannot run right now due to COVID restrictions in South Korea. But hopefully when those clear up, we'll be able to see these drivers racing in person once again.
Yeah, that's a long time coming, right? I think it's been a couple of months since we had the last offline event, and I've been waiting for it for such a while. This would have been, of course, the offline event had it not been for the COVID restrictions coming in, but you feel better about it when it comes less often, and the next time we get an offline event, it'll be even more special. So not too long now. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are absolutely getting there. But that's going to be all that we have time for here for the AMX Esports Championship last online event here. It is all done. We'll keep you posted as to when those offline events will happen. Of course, everything's all up in the air right now, but the stage has indeed been set for the end of the season here. We certainly are waiting with bated breath to see what happens and who comes out on top in the AMX Esports Championship for the first ever season. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you, well, whenever we plan those live events. Bye-bye.